and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time on a Friday, the first day of March. March is here. Let the tournaments begin. Next week we'll have conference tournaments starting. Then the week after that will be really when it gets kicked off, and then we'll have the NCAA tournament here. A lot of excitement, as always, in the month of March. But Bryant Dacus, Brett Norsworthy with you, Johnny Hill producing as always. And for the Tigers, they made a step in the right direction to keep those tournament hopes alive with a win last night against East Carolina. Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well, and the Tigers' March Madness really started a lot earlier for them after the two games down in Texas, and they've taken care of business since those games, and they're going to have to. I'm so glad we've turned to March, and the stories. I mean, you think about over these next 31 days, the buzzer beaters, the stories, the can you believe it moment. Did you see that? Right. I mean, all the stuff that's going to transpire, largely from college basketball. The NBA be going strong, baseball get going. We're going to have the fifth major in golf in the month of March, so some spring football thrown in there. More workouts for the NFL, but it's going to be largely driven by this is college basketball's month, and it's their time, and it always entertains. Won't crown a champion until April, first weekend in April, the Saturday of the Final Four, and then that Monday night, about as late a national championship one shining moment as I can ever remember. But March will be fun. The Tigers, they got the last day of February. They took care of business yesterday on that leap day, and they have to, and that's what we wanted. It was really never a game.
Right, and that's what we kind of talked about is the way they had been playing the past two games against Charlotte, against Florida Atlantic. Obviously a lot closer against Florida Atlantic, but a much tougher opponent. And then that game against Charlotte, you put together a 20-point win, and so you were hoping to see something like that. But I need to see it on the road before I really believed it. And so to see the Tigers last night go out there, it was very slow early. It was kind of hard in the first couple of minutes to get a basket, but after that, Tigers were rolling. Held East Carolina in the mid-20s. So defensively, they were playing really well in that first half, and I mean they rolled last night, and that's exactly what I think a lot of people wanted to see from this team. And
it was what a lot of people have expected all year. Yeah. That the conference play would look like, whether it was home or road. You see all the bracketologists now with the daily updates. I know Shelby Mass, who will be with us Monday, he's at the big get-together of a lot of the bracketologists there really chopping it up, trying to to build the best mousetrap. You got daily from Jerry Palm, almost daily from Joe Lenardi, and Joe Lenardi with his bracket math tweet. Do you have it in front of you?
I can pull it up. I had it in front of me.
I've got it. And he says he thinks of the 68 slots in the tournament, 61 are accounted for. So that means 7 spots up for grabs with 25 candidates.
Wow. That's incredible.
And he breaks it down. He breaks it down really well. And on the high points about the Tigers, the most pertinent, he's got the seed list of the teams that are out. He's got teams that are out. He's got St. John's at 69, Villanova at 70, Colorado 71, Utah 72, Kansas State 73, Drake 74, Iowa 75, Pittsburgh 76, Memphis 77, just one ahead of Texas A&M. He's got Ole Miss way down that list too at 83. Then he describes how he has updated his bracket, and he's got as he describes it, a better profile than at first glance, and he has the Tigers in that profile with a lot of other teams. Worse profile than at first glance, he's got Ole Miss in that grouping with some others. So it is not out of the realm of possibility for the Tigers. I think the easiest thing to do would be win Sunday against UAB,
sure.
Win next Saturday at home against FAU, and at least get to Saturday at Fort Worth. I had a long-time college basketball observer and very, very knowledgeable, very credible tell me that he remembered a few years ago that a lot of people that would cover the mock bracket stuff, that they were told most of the work by the committee, and they're not, they make no pretense around it, it is by and large done by Saturday. They leave some space for some vagaries and for a few things, but most of those spots are kind of taken with some and/ors or either ors, and so how much does Sunday? I don't think really matters. We saw that last year. I don't know how much Saturday from 2-ish on really matters.
Right.
So the Tigers would have to win on Thursday in Fort Worth and on Friday, and then hope everybody loses. Well, that's not likely.
Right.
I mean, it's too many cars in between them and the finish line for maybe that to happen. But there's hope, and I don't want to extinguish it. I don't want to be that guy the day after a great win.
No, absolutely not. And I think, like you said, I mean, the best thing to do is just keep winning, and winning helps a lot. And you stack those wins on each other, and that will be a lot better than if you drop the game Sunday against UAB, or you lose to Florida Atlantic, or you lose one of those games in the tournament.
Brian, we can't. But if you could change two games at Tulane, home against Rice. Yeah. You change those to wins. This is last year.
Sure.
You're on the easy street.
Sure.
You're in. Now, the seeding may not be ideal because you had the stumble against South Florida. You had the road loss at UAB. The seeding may not be ideal, but being on that reveal of 68,
yep.
it'd be a no sweater.
Yeah.
If you change at Tulane and home against Rice. Home against Rice, it was and it is devastating.
Yeah, and that's one of those losses that, as much as you try to defend a lot of the losses, that's the one that is pretty much impossible to defend. I mean, it's the way it happened, the way that the Tigers just didn't show up. That's the first one. You just give me one game to wipe off the schedule. It's that loss. Turn that loss into a win.
It would go a long way.
It would.
Today in the net, the Tigers are 72. I don't always know how they come up with that. No. Improved from 79 to 72. A lot of that improvement was because they just blasted ECU. And the net's impressed by blowouts. They're begging for you to roll it up on people and run it up on people. But the Tigers did and should. Mm-hmm. And Coach Hardaway was asked about it and said, frankly, I have to.
Yeah.
You just changed the Rice game. I'm going to bet 10 to 12 spot improvement in that. So at 72, you'd be looking at 59, 60, 61. Yeah. With the improvement against UAB Sunday and FAU next week, and just get to Saturday, you're right, Brian. You're there. That might be through Dayton at worst,
sure, but
you're there.
You're there, and we're not having this conversation about, well, you really need to win and keep winning, and if you don't win the tournament, you probably need to go to the conference championship to try to feel anything on Selection Sunday. We're not having that conversation. It's play this out, see how it falls, and there's a really good chance that you're on the right side. But that's not how it turned out this year, and so now the Tigers are needing these late season wins, but kind of what we've gotten used to under Penny Hardaway is his teams find a way to win games and find success later in the season.
Something else the Memphis Tigers need this weekend. First and foremost, take care of business against UAB. Mm-hmm. And isn't it a Blazer field weekend this weekend? Trailblazers tonight and tomorrow night at FedEx Forum. UAB Blazers on Sunday afternoon. A lot of Blazers in it.
That's right.
So take care of business against UAB. Tigers need Virginia to beat Duke at Duke. at Cameron.
Yeah, no, that would go.
That can't hurt.
No, not at all. I mean, when you look at those early wins that Clemson and Virginia, even Texas A&M. I mean, any wins they have the rest of the way certainly doesn't hurt you.
Yeah, I kind of forget about A&M. You're right about Clemson. Clemson's 23 net.
Yeah.
Virginia Commons 74 net.
Yeah. So I mean, all of those. I mean, any game that they win, it doesn't.
I don't know if
hurt
Common
you.
helps or hurts right now. You beat them, but
Yeah.
they're close to you in net.
That's a good point.
But beating them matters. You see Villanova as a lot of teams, a lot of brackets that are kind of the last team in. Mm-hmm. Well, they're 32 net, and they handled the Tigers.
Yeah, and so we'll see how it all ends. And I know, I saw Joe Lenardi has Gonzaga in, and that's a team that has kind of been on that back and forth for a while. And they go out last night at the Chase Center and really run it up in the second half on San Francisco. So the net really likes it, and in turn, if the net likes it, these bracketologists like it because we've been told that is what the selection committee looks at.
Wake Forest 27 in the net.
Yeah.
That really helped them.
Absolutely.
Beating Duke. Providence 56. Providence plays tonight, don't they?
Ooh, I don't think so. They might though.
No. Providence plays tomorrow against Villanova.
Yeah. I like that Providence team, but that's another game to keep an eye on when it comes to these teams.
Utah
that are
State
right outside.
tonight.
Utah State later tonight against Air Force. That's the 10 p.m. game. No promises. I stay up for that one tonight.
On the weekend, no promises?
No promises. A big Saturday tomorrow, Brett. I mean, all the college basketball. You got to get your pre-Saturday basketball beauty sleep. I mean,
and you know what we have tomorrow on College Game Day, don't you?
I actually do not know. No.
It's been coffee table books written about it forever. The famed first Saturday in March.
Oh,
Tennessee and Bama.
I love that. You're right.
Cigar game, isn't it?
I'll be honest, Brett. I've tried College Game Day this year for basketball. I just can't get into it.
Doesn't do it for me either.
It just don't hit the same. It don't hit the same.
It does not come close to hitting the same. And last weekend, when they were at Stores at UConn, the College Game Day on Saturday drew about 465,000 viewers. That's just nothing.
No.
On Sunday, for the College Game Day, for the women's College Game Day game they were featuring on Sunday, it drew about 445,000 viewers. Remember, the last hour of college football game day draws almost 2 million people.
Crazy. But I mean, I think one thing that's bothered me is I never know how long College Game Day is.
Yeah,
earlier
I agree, bro.
Well, they threw a long one on us last week, didn't they?
Last week,
yeah, it was too long.
And I thought it was
way
just
too long,
be,
Johnny.
The first couple were just 1 hour, and then I wake up last Saturday and I get a notification from my ESPN of get up for game day, College Game Day at Stores. And I was like, wait a minute, why am I getting this an hour early? And I flip it over, and they're already started.
And it's just not at all organic. It is too staged and too produced.
Yes. It's nothing like the football one. It's not in no comparison at all.
Well, and I don't even want to compare the two. I just can't get into basketball. And Johnny, you know how
I
much
agree.
I love college basketball.
Yeah, that's true.
For some reason, I just can't get into it.
Yeah, and that's the bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah, when you want to get into it, and tomorrow first time ever at Alabama for College Game Day football, or for basketball rather. Football, been there so much.
Been there, done that.
They're worn out on it. I mean,
they are.
They got real game day fatigue in football. We'll see if they get fired up for basketball.
Yeah, we'll see, and hopefully they do, and maybe I'll get drawn in. I don't know. But in that game last night for the Tigers, obviously. Great games. Naquan Tomlin looked really good again. David Jones had a nice game. Jourdain finished with 14 points. And after the game, talking to Dave Woloshin, and I was talking to Dave earlier today, he said, all of these guys, you never, it's hard to keep up with eligibility. I'd kind of forgotten that Nicholas Jourdain was not a senior, and kind of asked him senior day, and you got anybody coming? And he said no, and it's not my senior day. I've got another year. And so he went on and asked him. So are you going to be back next year? And he said, yeah, I will be back next year. Jason Munz, who we'll talk to in a couple hours, he followed up on that, asked Nicholas Jourdain again, and Nicholas Jourdain said that as far as he plans, that he will be back next year for Memphis, which I think is a huge commitment from Nicholas Jourdain, because I think he has really been a guy that has been super consistent this year and has played really, really well.
I do too, and I hope that's the case. Yeah. But I also know this: they're all coming back until they don't.
And that's a good point, and that's what I kind of started thinking about after he said it. Because when I first heard him say it, I was like, "Let's go, Jourdain coming back! I love that. That's huge." And I started thinking of it. Well, you still got 2 regular season games, however many, conference tournament, maybe NCAA tournament games, and then a week or 2 of talking to people. You never know what's going to happen with these players.
When I left the Peach Bowl, number 4, Quinshawn Judkins was going to be back and obliterate every rushing record in the Ole Miss record book. He's playing at Ohio State next year.
And that changed very quickly. So, yes, anything can change. Anything is really possible. But, we're getting close to that time for this Tiger team. And Brett, I mentioned to you last week that it's something I want to ask Ty Richardson, and we'll probably get to it with him today, is, what do you think with Arkansas, with all of these transfer guys, of who's going to come back? What's that roster going to look like last year? Who do you want back? I mean, this day and age of college basketball and the transfer portal, there are a lot of questions going around and a lot of decisions that have to be made by both player and team. So it's going to be very interesting. Let me go ahead and set up today's show before we get the top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line. He'll join us to talk some wagering. A lot to get to with Alan Bell. 3:45, we'll talk some more about the Tigers' win over East Carolina. We'll also talk a little bit about their big game on Sunday, Senior Day, for the Tigers at home against UAB. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net will join us. We'll talk some more wagering with Bruce. 4:30, Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas. He'll join us. We'll talk some Razorbacks and the SEC as we're closer and closer to the SEC basketball tournament that will take place in a couple of weeks. So we'll talk a lot of basketball with Ty when he joins us in about an hour. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Jason Munz, the Commercial Appeal Tiger basketball beat writer. He'll join us to talk about what happened last night and the game over the weekend against UAB. And as always, Jason Munz is presented by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're sitting in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Get over there. They've got the factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and patio furniture. It's patio season. Come by Family Leisure and check out the new 2024 patio furniture sets. Pool season, it will be here before we know it. Buy now and get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Save $1,000 to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Also, special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and outdoor kitchens. So make sure you head out to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sportstime, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. He's Bryant, I'm Brett, and we're produced by Johnny Hill, and we want you to be a part of our show at 901-360-8255. Every day this hour brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in town with great offers on all 2024 models and special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673. But they want you to stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be what the Tigers did last night on the road against East Carolina. We said it yesterday. I said it a couple times yesterday that I was very interested to see how the Tigers came out. I had seen what happened to Wake Forest, where they go out at home, have this emotional victory over Duke, a massive win for them. Then that next game on the road against a bad Notre Dame team, they go out and lay a dud. I was worried that the same thing would happen for the Tigers. I mean, let's face it. We've seen this team get up for big games all season long, and then kind of those sleepy games, especially those road games, it's hard for them to get up, especially early in those games. We've seen this team far too often have to claw their way back in the second half, and that's not what I wanted to see last night, and it is not what I saw at all. The Tigers came out, even though it's kind of a slow start for both teams in that first couple of minutes to get the ball through the hoop, but after that, it was all Tigers all night. They hold East Carolina to only 24 points in the first half, and the Tigers scored 46 in the second half to finish off with an 82-58 win over the Pirates. It was another great game from Naquan Tomlin, who finished with 20 points, 5 rebounds. David Jones added 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Nick Jourdain also with 14 points and 4 rebounds. Really good night from the starters, and when you look at it, 3 starters with 30 or more minutes last night. Those other 2, Jourdain and Walton, added 26 minutes. So you're seeing, again, for another straight game, Penny Hardaway is starting to limit this rotation, which I like to see.
That's my top story as well. The Tigers last night, they did what we wanted. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and demolished ECU along the way at the Minges. Hope with conference realignment, that's the last time the Tigers ever have to go to the Siberia of college basketball, to Greenville, North Carolina. Are they better without Malcolm Dandridge? I don't think so, but it's been good without him, but I don't know in the long haul that they would be better without him. But last night, 82-58, and it wasn't even that close. Naquan Tomlin finally playing consistently. It's on the Big Four the rest of the way. The Big Four, Jones, Tomlin, Quinlan, Jourdain, they had 62 of the 82 last night, and I think this team will only go as far as that foursome takes them.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, the Grizzlies back in action tonight. The rare back-to-back against the same team tonight against the Trailblazers. They'll take on the Trailblazers tonight and also see them tomorrow night. This is a game between 2 teams that are pretty much at the bottom in the conference rankings. One team has a ton of injuries, and a lot of people figure they'll bounce back next year. The other team, a ton of young faces, and really a full-on rebuild in Portland. I saw this earlier. Jonah Dillon tweeted out, this was about 3 hours ago, the Grizzlies are a 1.5-point favorite over the Blazers tonight. The Blazers will be without Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Rob Williams III, and Malcolm Brogdon. Ayton is doubtful. For the Grizzlies, they'll be without Morant, Bane, Smart, Rose, Pippen, Triple J, Clark, Gigi Jackson is questionable. Kennard and Conchar are both doubtful. It's going to be a fun one at the Grindhouse tonight.
Could be some different combos out there, won't it? We talk about some different fives out there for the Grizzlies this year tonight. It sure could be the case. My not top story last night, LeBron, he almost got to 40,000.
He sure did.
He's at the odometer says 39,991. That's a lot of nines. The Lakers win in overtime against the Virginia Wizards. They're trying to get out of D.C.
Yeah, they are.
I don't think the Lakers can get to the 8th seed. It looks like Golden State and the Lakers in that one-game elimination in over a month, and that will be wild. That will be really good TV viewing. But one team will be out of it for Adam Silver and the NBA Enterprise after that one game. But 39,991, and he'll break. They play tomorrow night, right?
Yes.
He'll break tomorrow night, or he'll get to 40.
No, he definitely will, 100%. And I know a lot of people are going to be watching when that happens.
Can you believe this weekend, for a lot of college basketball, is the last weekend of regular season play?
Yeah.
And for everybody, it's the next to last weekend.
Yeah, crazy.
It's either the last or the next to last weekend for the regular season. Yeah. On Monday, we start with some conference tournament games, a few more Tuesday, a lot more on Wednesday, and then from then on, there's some bracket, some elimination. There are some teams this weekend that are playing to get in conference tournaments.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So it's going to be really interesting. I noticed last night looking at the games for tonight in college basketball, I felt like there were a lot more. Usually on a Friday night, you get 9 or 10. Not many teams want to play on a Friday night, but I did notice the ASUN finishing their entire regular season tonight because they start their conference tournament on Monday. So a lot of A-Sun games tonight. That'll be interesting to watch.
You got bracketed A-Sun games on Monday. Today around the net, FAU and the AAC, they're at 36, SMU at 44, the Tigers at 72. In conference leader and close to closing out magic number, USF net is 85.
Wow, a little higher than I thought it would be. I know the metrics are.
You want to guess Louisville's?
Oh man, I don't. I have no idea. It could be anywhere between like 250 to dead last.
It's 210.
Wow, really higher than I thought it would be.
12 spots ahead of Rice at 222.
How about that? You know, one place Louisville basketball doesn't want to be in the same neighborhood of, Rice.
You got it.
That's tough. That's really tough. But being in the ACC has certainly helped the net a little bit because I know earlier in the season, I think around like Christmas time, and we were checking in
270s, 280s.
Yo, maybe even lower than that. I think they were even dipping into 300. So, I mean, just a mess of a season again for Louisville. Well, that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. When we come back, we'll talk some wagering with Alan Bell.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at LawnSolutionsInc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go. So Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000 or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. Two final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Minimum purchase required. Interest accrues from date of purchase but is waived if paid within promotional period. Go to windowappointmentnow.com for full offer details.
Attention all homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? Fog between the glass? Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can now get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal Toll by Anderson. And right now you could buy one window or door and get one 40% off. Just text FRONT to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, buy one window or door and get one 40% off. And right now, save an extra $200 off your entire purchase. Text FRONT to 200-300 right now. Text FRONT to 200-300. Don't wait. Text the word FRONT to 200-300. Text FRONT to 200-300.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. The traffic's on the increase already at times in the construction zone. It's moving, but it's just busy at times from 55 northbound between Macklemore and South Parkway. Hey, don't forget tonight at 8 o'clock, they're going to close the northbound lanes of Germantown Road over here at Wolf River Boulevard. Again, don't let that catch you off guard. They did the exact same thing last Friday night. Traffic's on the increase at times already over here on Summer Avenue going outbound. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in the Memphis area. It's got to be Tomahawk Crane and Rigging online. TomahawkCrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us like he does every Friday afternoon to talk some wagering, Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line joins us now. Alan, thanks so much for joining us. Happy March 1st. It's officially the month of madness. I know everyone is excited to start getting some brackets in front of us, but as you've watched the college basketball season this year, some tournaments start next week. A lot of the others start the week after. What conference tournament are you most intrigued by?
Yeah, man. First, I appreciate you guys having me back. Yeah, I mean, the Big 12, obviously, just because you get so many good teams that are in it. The SEC is going to be interesting. But, yeah, man, to answer that with one, the Big 12. I think that you just have so many good teams that are just going to go to. It's going to be a war, man.
If you had to pick a champion, though, would you pick from? Would you go with UConn from the Big East right now to repeat, or would you take the Big 12 and Houston in it?
Yeah, UConn.
I do too.
UConn is like that much better than everybody. They're just consistent, man. Like, you just know what you're going to get. They handle themselves like professionals. They're very well coached. He is not putting up with any mess whatsoever. And they just go about their business, man. So, yeah, in that scenario, UConn.
I think he's running hot and really wants to kick that door in of being one of the Blue Bloods. It'll be no way to deny them that status if they go back to back. Hadn't been a team do it since Florida 06-07. The SEC is going to be in town. But Alan, what I love next week. I like a lot of these one bid leagues, like in the NEC, and they're playing in some bandbox with the scoreboard stuck on one end, sponsored by Coca-Cola or Pepsi, stuck on the wall on one end like a high school gym. And I guarantee you it'll be a court storming when Ryder hits a buzzer beater to get the automatic bid.
I'm telling you, man. No, you're right. And that's what makes college basketball and college baseball great, is that you have these teams in the lower conference, whatever. That, I mean, they're good teams, and it matters, and people care. You know what I mean? And I'm totally with you on that. And I love, like, the banners that are on the end of the gym. You got, like, Carol and Daryl's, Truck Auto Body Shop, right? Like, it's the best, man.
Lawn care of Saudi Daisy.
That's right. Exactly.
I like, and it's almost like the bench area. They can turn around and like get a chip of nachos from the person one row behind them.
Oh yeah, and that's the best part too. Is it's got the feel of like you've got like dads of the players that they're yelling. You know what I mean? Like you can hear them. It's awesome. I'm with you on that.
Alan, I'm not big on futures bets. I'm just not. I just can't wait that long. I need to bet games that are happening there. It's tough for me to bet futures, but
that's coming from someone that's holding an Arizona ticket in the preseason in college basketball.
And that's where I'm going with this. I may or may not have 2 future bets out on Arizona. One to make the Final Four, one to win the whole thing. What do you think about this Arizona team going into March?
Yeah, I mean, they're good and they're big. Like they look like an NBA team. They did last year. They do this year, right? Like I mean, their guards are big. Their bigs are big. They can play wing ball. They're a good basketball team, man. And then going back to using that question, going back to we were talking about like UConn, the Big 12. I mean, this thing's wide open, man.
Sure
like there's parity out there, right? Like anybody can be beat at any moment, UConn included, right? So I'm fascinated to see how these conference finals play out, what our seedings look like, and the path that these teams have, man. Because you've got teams like, we just spoke about UConn. We're speaking about Arizona. Teams like Purdue, teams like Tennessee, right, that are right up there. What do you do with a Kansas? What do you do with a Kentucky, right? Like Kentucky can't find any consistency, but they can score 95 points on you. You know what I mean? At any moment.
And they're Kentucky.
Exactly, right? And it's going to be a home game wherever they play. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like this like Arizona, that's a smart play. They've got every opportunity in the world to do that. But yeah, man, like it's going to be like last year. Like it's wide open, absolutely wide open. If you want to be at FAU, go out there, make a Final Four, buddy, you can do it.
I was joking a little bit earlier. Tomorrow, the famed first Saturday in March, Alabama and Tennessee. I hope the managers have packed cigars for winning teams tomorrow.
Be great.
Yeah. That first weekend in March, man, it's just like the football. Yeah,
sure is.
That's good.
Nothing like it.
That's a pretty good game.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for that one.
Got to wait all day for it, though. It's not until 7 o'clock tomorrow night. For Tennessee, everybody respects the coach that Rick Barnes is, but everybody knows the tournament, coming up short for him through the years, especially at Tennessee. Yeah. How much pressure is on a guy like that?
There's pressure. Like, trust me, man. Like, there's absolute pressure. I do a radio show once a week in Knoxville, and we were just talking about that yesterday. And it's real. I mean, it's absolutely real. Now, it's tough to win in the postseason for anybody, right? But Rick Barnes has some really good teams, and they've underperformed. But the fascinating part with this team, and go back to like the Bruce Pearl era with Tennessee, all the way back then to now. Like this Tennessee team doesn't have the star power players, right? That you're saying NBA that some of the others did. But this team might be the overall best team that Tennessee's had in a while, right? Like they're very similar to UConn in this. I'm not saying they're UConn, but they're very similar in the sense of it's a quiet team. You don't hear much. Very Rick Barnes style-esque, right? They can play defense. They can shoot lights out. They can rebound. However you want to get down to the game, they can do it. They can do it very, very well. So, yeah, man, like that thought process on Rick Barnes in the tournament is very real. And the pressure is real, but also he's won a lot of games. You know what I mean? Like this team is consistently a top 10 team, so it's not pressure of like losing a job or anything, but you're going to want to get to another weekend. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of important.
Alan, if you scratch deep and you got the truth out of Nashville and Knoxville sports talk radio host, and you gave them their choice, who would you really like coaching Tennessee, Rick Barnes or Bruce Pearl? What do you think the answer would be?
Oh, I mean, Bruce Pearl's going to be that answer because he's Bruce Pearl. You know what I mean?
He is.
it was a special time when he was in Knoxville, man. Like, it not only resurrected that program, it resurrected Bruce. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of a time where both the school and the team, both the school and Bruce Pearl needed each other right at that time, and they came together at the perfect time. And the crazy thing is that for 9 months on campus, you had Bruce Pearl, Lane Kiffin, and Ed Orgeron. Like, now,
man,
football side only lasted.
That poor AD.
Yeah, oh my God.
Every time his phone pinged, he had to go, no, what's going on here? You say that about Pearl and his time there. I really believe Lane, if he had stayed, now his dream job was USC. He was going to take a crack at it at some point in his life. But if he had stayed there, he would have built something special there, like I think he's doing at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I do too. Lane's a good football coach. We talked about this, on here before. That even though he's young, right? Like his resume is not. I mean, he was an NFL coach 12-something years ago, right? Like his football knowledge is so much further beyond what it should be at his age, right? Like that's why we see that he's doing so well at Ole Miss, and plus he's a charismatic guy. He gets it. He understands the game. He understands the recruiting game. All of it. I'm with you. Like Lane, he had to go. Go get your dream job. Go chase it. You got to do it because you kick yourself in life if you didn't. But I'm with you, man. Like he could have done something really special at Tennessee. He could do something special at Ole Miss. It's already been good. So it'll get better.
I'm ready to see the brackets, but I'm going to have Bruce Pearl advancing farther than Rick Barnes.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing too. When you look at kind of the in-game coaching, and again, not hammering on Rick Barnes, but Bruce Pearl, man, like they get the tournament, like they're usually pretty solid. They had a tough one last year, but he knows what he's doing. These guys play for him. I'm with you, man. He's a hard guy to face. You know what I mean? Like,
and I know who won on Wednesday night. I don't need anybody to text me and tell me, well, those two went at each other the other night because Dalton Connect put on a Bernard King, Dale Ellis, Allen Houston, Chris Lofton show.
Yeah. This kid's amazing, man. He's starting to finally get like national coverage, and he's just nuts. I mean, look, Auburn, quite frankly, probably should have won that game. Tennessee did not play well until about 10 left in the second half. Then they started turning it on, notably him. Yeah, man, like this Dalton Connect kid is unbelievable. But, that's another thing, too. Like, Bruce Pearl can recruit. Buddy, Rick Barnes can recruit his tail off, man. And, he's one of those guys that, for any of us, if you had a son that was going to, whatever college, not Tennessee, but if Rick Barnes is walking in that door, like, he's a guy that you trust. You know what I mean? Tom Izzo. You know that he's in good hands. Mm-hmm. He's going to be coached well, and he's probably going to come out a better man afterward, than he was when he entered, just because they're good guys, So that's what you do got to give Rick Barnes. Pearl can recruit, so can Rick.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line. He joins us every Friday to talk wagering. I want to talk some college baseball. I want to any picks if you have them. But before that, I know we were talking about win totals last week in Major League Baseball. And this past week, my girlfriend's older brother was home, and he is a massive Cincinnati Reds fan. And he was telling everybody that would listen, put as much money as you want on the Reds over win total this year, that it's going to hit. I'm seeing at 82.5 right now. What do you think about the Reds going into this season? Do you think over might be the move?
Okay, so on the Reds, yeah, I like it. Reds are a good team. They've got really good chemistry, man, really good dugout. And you could see it the last 2 years, right?
Great manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that, it radiates. You can feel it. You can see it. I'm down with it. Like, I haven't, jumped in on too many baseball futures just yet, but I'm with it on the Reds for sure. Then you brought up college baseball. Man, I know we're only 3 weeks in, but this weekend is loaded with so many good games, man. If anybody's looking to bet, we've got Florida and Miami series down there in Miami. I like Florida tonight. And you kind of have to put, two-leg parlays together because the juice can get a little high. But, yeah, man, I like Florida. I like Auburn at home against UConn. I like Texas A&M is a team that doesn't get a lot of love, and they are fantastic playing in the tournament in Arlington against Arizona State tonight. So I like those guys. They're really good. And Alabama, playing a big one tournament down in Texas. That one's going to be a solid game like Alabama as well.
We've also got Georgia and Georgia Tech tonight. I was reading back kind of in the fall and the winter about this Drew Burris freshman at Georgia Tech that was, really impressing people, and now he's come out and has looked amazing for Georgia Tech. Well, 4 home runs and 4 plate appearances last week. That should be another great series this weekend.
Yeah, it should. And look, Georgia leads the country in home runs.
Wow.
Right? So, yeah, I mean, you've got a solid one there. Who's Ole Miss got?
Iowa. That's another good one.
That's right, Iowa. That's going to be...
Don't tell Iowa. They think they came to warm weather.
That's true.
Really?
that's how it feels in Nashville.
Don't tell them.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, man. I can't wait to watch that. This is too good baseball.
Alan, I got a great Georgia Tech baseball story. A good friend of mine was in school in 79, 80, 81, and Buck Bellew, the famous Georgia football quarterback, was also a really great baseball player and played here in Memphis in Double-A baseball with the Chicks. But anyway, he said wasn't a very big crowd. Wasn't big crowds then, and the seating was it was like going to a Babe Ruth League game, American Legion game. They were real close to the Georgia dugout. He said he and his buddies heckled Buck Bellew unmercifully all day. Hey, Buck, you don't have Herschel to bail you out. Hey, Buck, where's Lindsey Scott to throw it to?
Lindsey Scott.
That's great.
Dude, that is good. That is really, really good.
It is good stuff.
That's awesome. Well, Alan, before we let you go, anything in college basketball? I know those lines usually don't drop until in the morning, but are there any games that you're kind of keeping an eye on that you might like one side or the other?
Yeah, take the Tennessee-Alabama over. I'm telling you. Yeah, it's going to be a solid one, man.
That could be NBA All-Star game breaks out.
Seriously, like that's going to be the style, right? Because Alabama's got to win this game. Tennessee definitely does not want to lose this game. You're going to have points galore. Yeah, ride that over.
Yeah, that should be a fun one tomorrow night. Well, Alan, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. We'll do it again next Friday.
Hey, you too, boys. Y'all be good, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, Alan. Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line. Make sure you go check out everything they're doing over on YouTube. Driving the Line every single morning. You can go get your picks. They do everything from college baseball to basketball to even soccer. And when football season rolls around, they'll definitely be doing that as well. So go make sure you check them out. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what happened last night when the Tigers beat East Carolina. We'll also talk about Sunday's game against UAB. That's next on Sportstime.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Spring is in the air, and so are the savings at Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Hi, this is Lauren Choate. As we welcome clearer skies and brighter days, it's the perfect time to clear up something else, your home's air quality. Right now, for a limited time only, get a free dryer vent cleaning with every air duct cleaning service. Did you know that cleaning your air ducts can not only improve your home's air quality, but also increase your HVAC system's efficiency? Well, it's not just about efficiency. It's about safety and reducing the risk of dryer fires significantly. With Choate's expert technicians, you can rest assured that your air ducts and dryer vent will be cleaned thoroughly, leaving your home safer in your air fresher. All it takes to breathe easier and save? Just one call to Choate's. But hurry, this offer won't last forever. Schedule your air duct cleaning service today. Give us a call at 347-8086 or visit us online, choateshvac.com. Choate's, let our family serve your family.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5 Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5 Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Don't let the name Sunrise fool you. Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar don't just make one fantastic breakfast. They're also the best choice for a fast, fresh lunch made just for you. Chain restaurants are focused on getting you in and out as quickly as possible. Sunrise wants to make sure that after you've enjoyed your lunch, you'll be happy that the crew at Sunrise genuinely cares about you. Not in a weird way. They care that your burger or BLT or Dirty Bird are exactly the lunch you were craving. We've said it a million times. Don't settle when there are 2 locations of Sunrise just a short drive away.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelge and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop, here on Sports 56, real sports talk.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
So we talked a lot about that win over East Carolina earlier. The Tigers take care of business 82-58. It was never really a game Tigers controlled from start to finish, but now they return home Sunday afternoon, senior day for the Tigers against a UAB team that beat them on the road. What do you expect to see Sunday afternoon at FedEx Forum, Brett?
I expect to see a Tiger team really smarting from that road effort at UAB a couple of Sundays ago and get an exact revenge, and I think they will. Yeah. And it's down to this big 4, and I like Quinterly as 7 assist guy more than launching 3-point guy.
Sure.
I want him to channel his best Kendrick Davis from this point on. If he does, I still think the Tigers could do some damage in the NCAA tournament if they got there. There are a lot of teams out there that if they got in, they would not want to play Memphis.
Right.
Peaking right. And last year, everything that happened the first game, 2 years ago, play the narrow loss to Gonzaga game after beating Boise. This team can do that.
Yeah.
Can this team also completely have a flat effort?
Sure.
I'm afraid so. That's what we were talking about yesterday, is it was not East Carolina we were scared of. We were well-founded in that. There was nothing at all to be scared of in East Carolina.
No.
What we're scared of is the Tigers.
Yeah, and Dave and I were talking about this earlier, and kind of you want to trust this team. You want to look at these last 3 games and say, man, they're really playing well. But then you've kind of remembered that a couple times this season you felt pretty good about this team, and then they'll come out with a couple duds, and they'll go and lose 4 straight games. They'll go lose back-to-back games in Texas. And so, if this team is firing and on all cylinders and playing the way we know they can play, you're absolutely right, Brett. There are not many teams in the NCAA tournament that would want to look up in the first round and see Memphis.
And when we were having that fanciful talk of 10, 11, 12 men, 1 ball, how are we going to get all the minute allocation just right? Did anybody ever factor in a glue guy being Joe Cooper?
No, I don't think so. And, he's been a guy that Penny Hardaway's had to call on, and with kind of what this bench has been, and now this is the fourth game he's been
3 rebounds, 3 assists in 9 minutes.
Yeah. So he's seeing time, and he's getting minutes, and they're leaning on him to come in and make an impact. Almost
a triple 3 last night. Had 2 points.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, who had that in any calculus preseason of minutes for Joe Cooper?
I certainly didn't, and I still kind of surprises me that they're relying on him off the bench. But that's kind of what this rotation's been. The starting is stars are really good, and then when you look to the bench, it's kind of a hole, and you need somebody to step up.
And the seeding for the AAC tournament, it's really in play now. Can get to that 4th.
Yeah.
I don't think can get any better than that, and can't slide really any worse than where they are.
No, and so it's worked out really well for them lately, and they've kind of, I don't know what it is. Penny Hardaway said after the game that when they left Texas that he kind of saw a different team. Maybe they needed that just flat out embarrassment is what it was against SMU. It was embarrassing to watch that team play the way they did. Maybe they needed that to wake them up. Maybe that was the wake-up call they needed, because since that game, they've played much differently. The energy level is different. It looks like everyone is bought in and cares, and so you're right. A week ago, just a couple days ago, when we were talking about how high can this team get, I didn't think 4 was going to be in play because it just did not look like it. And now, because of what the Tigers have done and some losses from other teams that we didn't really expect, that 4th seed is completely in play.
Don't think I'm avoiding the subject, but do think that I ran it up to about 50 seconds before we have to get out for this top of the hour break. Mm-hmm. Tiger bankroll last night. I was the big loser. Lost $150 to take my season total to $1,250. I'm 15-14 this year, picking the Tigers, whether against them or with them. I'm 15-14. Bryant, you win 75.
All right, we needed that one.
You get to 650.
Need a standing ovation.
Good job.
I'm not saying completely out of it, but mostly out of it.
Mostly out of it.
12-17 for the year. Johnny Hill wins his 9th out of the last 10 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
He wins 150
to
get to 12-25, to only trail me by 25, to take his season total to 17-12.
Look at you,
At
Johnny.
one time, I had a $900 lead over Johnny.
Wow.
What a comeback, man.
Brad, it comes at you fast. Wow.
Really does, doesn't it?
What a comeback, man. This might be the biggest comeback since LeBron against the Golden State Warriors.
I mean, it might be bigger than that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
hey, maybe bigger. I like it, Brad.
This is putting your finest cashmere up after you wear it for the last time in March, and it's fine, and you bring it out in November, and it looks like Swiss cheese. It just happened to me overnight, Johnny, didn't it?
I mean, who expected
Happened out of nowhere.
I thought that this was over, and now
I did too. I was ready to play the music.
Of intrigue. It's getting interesting. And
now I'm in scramble mode.
I mean, and what a better time. March.
March.
Here. I mean,
hey, it's perfect timing.
And now we're getting Madness and Tiger Bankroll, so that'll be a lot of fun to keep up with until who knows when the last Tiger Bankroll will be. But we need to go ahead and wrap up this hour and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk more wagering with Bruce Marshall.
Hello, Memphians. Wake up each and every Tuesday morning weekly to Cup Club Early Morning Show. Cup Club Early Morning Show each and every Tuesday morning weekly 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. right here on AM 56. Hosted by former Arkansas State Red Wolves Hall of Fame fullback Ricky Jemison. Enjoy special guest interviews, top sports local, nationally, and Monsters Game Pro Football League updates. Cup Club Early Morning Show right here on AM 56.
Sponsored by BetterHelp. What's the first thing you'd do if you had more time in the day? Read, nap, talk with a friend? When you know what's important to you, it's easier to fit it into your schedule. Therapy can help you figure that out. BetterHelp offers affordable online therapy that comes to you. Start the process in minutes. Switch therapists anytime. No additional charge. Visit BetterHelp, HELP.com/succeed today, and you'll get 10% off your first month.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz, and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action, so don't miss the thrill. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
If you love sports and Mexican food, you can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the big TVs on all the walls at Los Cabos and enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $3.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham.
Most shoppers today fall into one of two categories. You could be like Dave, who settles for nothing but the finest.
I drive only European luxury sedans, wear the finest Italian leather shoes. My shirts are custom made, and I expect white glove service from those I do business with. I appreciate world-class brands, and at this point in my life, I just don't want to compromise on quality, no matter what I buy.
Or you might be like Steve, whose goal is to always get the best deal.
I'm frugal. I'm all about finding value. I want the best price, and I don't mind going out of my way to get it. I work hard for my money. I just want to make sure when I buy something, I can have confidence in knowing I'm not overpaying for it. Stop being cheap. It's being smart.
You never see these two guys in the same store, except for one.
That's why I shop at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds is that rare shopping experience where you can have it all. Uncompromising luxury and unbeatable value. Exceptional service and the guaranteed best price in America. A premium experience and a smart purchase. This is where the best of all worlds come together. Genesis Diamonds, Memphis's direct diamond importer at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A little bit crowded out here on certain sections of Sam Cooper, especially going outbound, working your way over towards Perkins. A quick reminder, tonight at 8 o'clock, they're going to close the northbound lanes of Germantown Road there at Wolf River Boulevard, just like they did last Friday night, so don't let that catch you off guard tonight. Down through South Haven right now, that looks good, south of Memphis on the Interstate 55 going southbound all the way down into DeSoto County. Weimer's Jewelry, they're located 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. Go by and see them this weekend. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders, CBS Sports, and his own website, bamsports.net. With over 30 years on Memphis radio, with handicapping and sports talk, here's Bruce Marshall with Bryant and Brett.
Bruce Marshall joins us now from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and bamsports.net to talk some wagering. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us, and we're finally to the month of March. Let the madness begin. We've got some conference tournaments starting next week, a lot starting the week after, and then we'll have the NCAA tournament. Looking around right now, who are the kind of couple of teams that you think have the best chance to win it all in April?
You know, Brian, yeah, we're right. It just seemed like it was Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago.
Does.
Now we're in March. My God, this is going faster every year. This is a strange sort of year because we have yet to see a dominant team emerge, and we really didn't last year until the tournament. And UConn looked better than everybody, but it seems sort of the same way last year at this point. But right now, definitely no. I mean, if Houston's the number one team in the country, I know Houston's good, but they are certainly not unbeatable. Then, I mean, it's sort of wide open. Having said that, and having acknowledged that the bubble, I actually think is a little bit more vast at this stage of 2024 than it has been on past March 1st in recent years. I still only think there's a handful of teams that are capable of winning this thing and going 6 games unscathed through the dance. Like I said last week, one of them is Tennessee, and that was certainly a tournament-like game against Auburn the other night, and it was tense, but they gradually took control of the game and won, and I think Connect is, like I said, my favorite player in the country right now. So Tennessee's good, should be there, and I think they're going to make their best run in a long time, and we will see.
That was a great atmosphere the other night, but that was at Thompson Bowling Arena. That won't be like NCAA tournament atmospheres. Right now, it looks like Tennessee probably or certainly could pod into Memphis. But even if they did that after they pod to Memphis, then they've got to go play the next set of games. Potentially maybe in Detroit. It won't be quite the home arena atmosphere for them. Bruce, of these teams, I got the Associated Press poll out, and this is about all it's useful for at this time of year because we know it factors nothing into seeding. But I'm going to give you these teams: Houston, Purdue, Tennessee, Iowa State. None of those teams have ever won it. They've all except for Tennessee, have been to a Final Four. Houston's been to a couple Final Fours. Purdue with Joe Barry Carroll had been to a Final Four. Iowa State a long time ago. But of those 4 teams, for a first-time winner, who would you like to see finally crack through? Kelvin Sampson, Rick Barnes, Matt Painter, or Iowa State?
Well, I mean, probably Iowa State, just because Iowa State could use some good news. Like, it would be the biggest thing that ever happened to Iowa State. Houston and Purdue have had a lot of basketball glory if they haven't yet won. But I'm okay if it's Tennessee too, and I'm actually, because of Connect and because I am enjoying watching this team so much, I'd probably rather have them do it because I'm going to enjoy watching them so much. I don't particularly enjoy watching Houston. I appreciate Houston, but they're not that fun to watch. Purdue definitely is not that fun to watch, and Iowa State sort of grinds too. So I think college hoops aesthetically would be better off if Tennessee wins. I'm real excited about their prospects, although if, what would make me feel better out of those 4, probably Iowa State. They've had less to cheer about throughout the decades in Ames. That'll probably be a big deal. But I don't think we got to worry about that with Iowa State. I don't think they're going to get there.
It's a little hard to believe that with, the Ray Mears years and other good teams, Tennessee never to a Final Four and very few Elite Eights.
Yeah, they always seem to get roadblocks. It's really been pronounced with Barnes since he got there. Bruce Pearl got to Elite Eight, but never, made the breakthrough. But, I'd say of the programs that have never made the Final Four, Brett, I mean, Tennessee might be right at the top of the list and way, way overdue.
If they're not, it's their rival tomorrow in Tuscaloosa. Alabama never to a Final Four. BYU famously never to a Final Four, and BYU a really good team this year.
Yeah, that's true. And Bama had at times has had some Final Four quality teams. I mean, their best team might have been the one in '76, and that's the one with CM, and they
almost beat Bobby Knight.
They almost beat Bobby Knight, and they came really close. They had a lead late in that game, and that was the toughest game Indiana had all that way through the dance for sure. So Alabama's been close. BYU, has had some flashy teams there, but they've never been that close. But I really think there's the best chance. Tennessee's got the best chance of that bunch to break that this year.
with the Tigers winning 3 games in a row, the Memphis Tigers winning 3 games in a row, there's a lot of people kind of talking about where they are at on the bubble, and I'm kind of in the boat of I think their best chance is to go down to the conference tournament and win it. When you look at this Memphis team, now 3 wins in a row, where do you see them in the tournament conversation?
I think they've moved maybe to the periphery of a bubble right now, but I still think right now they're probably about 6 or 7 spots to the wrong side of the cut line. Now, if they can keep winning, they could narrow that. But the later we get here, we've got to remember, most of the season has already been played.
Yep.
And a game here or there is not going to move the needle that much unless it's in the conference championship game. I mean, I'm not even sure South Florida right now would get an at-large. I mean, by me, I would put
no
them in
kidding.
there,
We were just talking about their net, Bruce. No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's lower than it should be, and Florida Atlantic will, I think, be there. But, Memphis is not out of it yet, but I think at best they're going to arrive at the American tournament with work to do, and that means at least getting the final game just to stay in the conversation. I still think it'll probably be short, but it's not impossible.
Bruce, old school starting next week with the bracket games and kind of on the fly. We called them write-in games that you didn't know who was playing from one day to the next. You kind of had a broad idea of, if the 2 winners, they move on. Can you sneak up on Vegas and catch Vegas a little bit with the guard down on some of these quick turnaround line games, write-in games?
Not as easy as it used to because they've put these teams up on the board all year.
Bruce, I don't remember the easy days. I'm glad you do.
Yeah, and it was never really that easy. But I mean, now though, I mean, we've been, the Patriot League in the Northeast and the Big South. I mean, there've been numbers posted on them all year. In the old days, they used to not post numbers on a lot of those mid and low tier. Low major leagues, but now, I mean, we've got them all the way through. Example, this year in the Big South, High Point has already sewn up home court for the conference tournament, and they look pretty good, and they're also going over like all the time. So that's the sort of thing you never would have seen in the old days. We've got a lot more data now to go on with a team like High Point. Scores a lot, goes over a lot, and so it's less. It is not as easy to find these soft spots anymore because we've been following and they've been putting numbers on these teams all year.
Tonight or into this weekend, anything you love. I do love the competition of this game tonight with Dayton, a 1.5-point favorite against the 1963 champions, the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. That's a good game. 20-8 Loyola against 22-5 Dayton. Anything you love tonight or this weekend from college basketball, and then we're going to talk about the 12-team college football playoff that we never had, right. And it's already going to 14.
Yeah, well, Dayton, lost that game at George Mason last week, so they could be vulnerable here, but Loyola then lost the game. Loyola had been playing very well, lost the game at St. Bonaventure this week. What's the common link there? Home court, and we see that through a lot of these leagues. That might give Loyola its best chance tonight, so that'll be a tough game. There are a couple of these, beneath the radar games I do like on the total side tonight. How about tonight? The P is hosting Bellarmine tonight, and for an 8-22 team, Bellarmine's not that bad, and they score a lot of points. A lot of overs lately. This total's only like 138, so I think they're going to probably go over in that one. Metro Atlantic, here's another league. A lot of Friday games, and their tournament comes up starting later next week. But you've got some real pace differences there in teams. You've got a collection of teams in that league that really go up-tempo. Quinnipiac, Iona, Fairfield, Ryder, among those. And then you got some teams that play really slow. Marist, St. Peter's, Canisius, Siena, which isn't any good this year. When you get two of those faster-paced teams together, like you get tonight, Quinnipiac and Iona, over. I mean, Iona goes over like every game when they play one of these other faster-paced teams in the league. Quinnipiac might be have the best offense in the Metro Atlantic. Only like 152. The total there, I think that's too low. That probably goes over in the Metro Atlantic tonight.
I love
Boy, it just sounds like Canisius plays slow, doesn't it?
Yeah, that name just...
A lot of crew cuts. I mean, it just seems like it's got to be slow, doesn't it?
Sure does.
It does.
Absolutely. Talking to Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. Well, Brett mentioned it. We're learning more and more about the idea of the 14-team playoff for college football. It was reported earlier this week by Ross Dellinger that the most popular opinion on the 14-team playoff would give the Big Ten and the SEC 3 automatics, then the ACC and the Big 12 2 automatics, Group of 5 1, and then 3 at-larges after that. What do you think of this idea?
It's probably going to happen, and I only think it's a matter of time before they go to 16. I know the Big Ten and the SEC would like to protect their champion, but it sounds like this model here also sort of protects the conference championship games. I mean,
it's the only thing that can save it.
Yeah, it sort of institutionalized it almost, and you really have to wonder what the conference title games are worth if they don't do something like this. So I think that's sort of the motivation. They sort of save that whole enterprise there, the conference championship games. But in the end, I think they're going to get to 16 at some point too. I mean, 14, yeah, and I know those SEC and Big Ten want to buy there, but eventually you put 2 more games, that's more money on the table. Eventually, follow the money. And I think that's where it's eventually going to go. But whichever direction it goes, unless the landscape changes, the Big Ten and the SEC are going to drive this thing. And, and at this point, you wondered, I mean, at some point, they may not say, maybe 3 might not be enough for each. They might want more. The Big 12, that's giving the Big 12 a really good deal after Texas and Oklahoma leaves. They give them, 2 spots in this thing. So at some point, the Big Ten and the SEC may differ. But the one thing here, they're controlling all this stuff. The NCAA is not involved in this. So there's going to be room for a lot more change each TV contract that comes up. And I think we got to get used to seeing that for the rest of the decade.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody else outside of the Big Ten and the SEC would continue with a conference championship game, because it's going to enhance the SEC and the Big Ten championship game, because that winner knows that worse they're going to be the 2 seed and have one of the 2 byes. The rest of them, I mean, they could just be inflicting damage and knocking a team out, or physically knocking someone out. I don't know why Big 12 and ACC would continue on with a game.
Yeah, maybe not. And if unless they're getting, if they get 2 spots in there, again, it comes back, follow the money. And for some reason, these conference title games seem to be an extra, moneymaker there. And I'm wondering, why these things are going to get kind of redundant if they already haven't become that. It looks like in general, though, they're trying to protect these things as much as they can. So we'll just have to see where it goes.
Bruce, there was the story this week of maybe not as much this year, but into the future, certainly after they go to 14, the calendar gets very, very limited. There's just so many days. We can't add a leap day in December. We can't have December 32nd. But this year, you're even going to see this. Here's the potential for someone in the SEC. Let's say Quinn Ewers in Texas, and he's on his way to a big year, and they get in the SEC championship game, say against Georgia, but they narrowly lose. But Quinn Ewers goes on and goes to the Heisman Trophy ceremony the next week and wins it. So he would be playing on Saturday, December 7th. The following Saturday, December 14th, he gets to New York on Friday, does all the media. If he wins, they stay at least till Monday night to the black tie dinner, and he's very busy. The following weekend, Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns will be playing in a home game in Austin. They won't be one of the top 4 seeds because they're not the champion. that's going to take a lot of shine off going to New York and going to the Heisman potentially for somebody out there.
Yeah, it is incongruous, and this is one of these things about old school college football, the things they used to do. These sort of things just might not fit in the new model, and what they're doing. And I think another thing we're gonna see at some point, and this will be pushed by TV, is the old scheduling models. And I heard of all people Ryan Day talking about this last year, and I normally don't listen to much that he said, but he thought the whole scheduling thing was archaic, and you can't be having these out 10 years in advance, and this whole thing, you should be playing other, power conferences all the time. TV certainly wants that, so I think that's probably going to fall, and I wouldn't mind seeing that, actually. I really wouldn't, so we'll see how that goes.
Bruce, we've got a couple teams that have already started spring practice. A lot of the other teams will start in the next week or two, and then we'll get spring games. Do you pay attention much at all to spring practice in terms of getting ready for late summer and early August when you start looking at futures for college football?
No, only if somebody gets hurt, and then that's when it means something. I had talked to. I think spring football. It's just my own, and I've talked to some coaches in the past, and though they would, this would be the equivalent of being politically incorrect in the coaching community. And they thought the greatest recruiting tool they could ever use, before NIL and all that, was saying there's no spring football. Nobody likes it.
Right.
Nobody likes it. And to see people watching these games like they mean something. I mean, first of all, the schools don't treat them the same, and they're just scrimmages, and they're not really games. So I choose not to pay a whit of attention unless somebody gets hurt, and that's something that we start looking at in the fall, because there's nothing that really, if somebody emerges as a player to watch in the spring and as a good spring, well, you'll hear about that before we get to the fall. That'll be in fall camp. That matters more anyway, what they're doing in fall camp. But it's much ado about nothing in spring.
Bruce, this far out from college football, how many teams would you take? Would it be 2, 4, 6? How many teams would you take and give someone else the field, and out of that grouping you took, you would feel certain you're national champion? Even with the playoffs coming, you would still get the national champion right. How many teams would you want to take?
5 or 6 probably. And that might be much. And, last year that certainly would have been it. Although, Washington getting the Final Four, that didn't totally shock me, but that might have been a little bit of a shocker. But, most years, I'd say, 5 or 6. I mean, college football ain't like college basketball, where somebody's going to sneak up out of nowhere to land in there. Washington's about as close as you're going to get to that. So 5 or 6, I think you probably could.
And even Washington in their football history, sharing it in '91, not completely unknown, but you're right, not the first name that rattles off. When I look at the teams that have won it in the 21st century, we've had 13 different teams win it, with the SEC winning it 5 times, the ACC winning it 3 times, the Big 12 2 times, Big 10 2 times, Pac 1 time. That was with the teams in it. I'm counting Texas in the Big 12. I know it's getting ready to change. When I look at the teams that have won it, I don't see any name that doesn't fit. And there's a couple like Notre Dame, Penn State, Oregon, maybe UCLA, that you could say, yeah, they belong. But there aren't many other teams that go, yeah, should BYU be in that list for the 21st century? No. Colorado, no. Washington, probably not. And, Bruce, you could say about Oregon, if they hadn't won it by now, how are they going to win it going through these multi-layered playoffs?
Yeah, you're right. And Phil Knight's not going to live forever either. So
87. Don't buy green bananas.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the benefactor of all benefactors. So you're right. I think it's pretty close to fraternity there. So and we'll see what goes this year. Obviously, there's a couple of interesting things this year, and it depends on the coaching changes. One is no Nick Saban anymore. I mean, DeBoer has established his coaching chops for sure, but this is Alabama. It's chewed up some other coaches before, so we'll see. And the other is Michigan. Sherrone Moore, if that's what they want to do after Harbaugh, I know he was the interim there, and they won a few games. The same thing worked for Ryan Day, pretty good at Ohio State. But man, that's a big ask of a guy on his first job to take over the national champions like that, just because he was on staff. I mean, that's a tough call. So I think that's the question this year: is Alabama and Michigan still in that highest of elite classes? And that's something we'll just think about more as we get closer to the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce, last thing before we let you go, I know you gave us some plays for tonight. Is there anything any games you're looking at for tomorrow that you like one side or the other, or a total before these lines come out?
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting ones. That Marquette-Creighton game is awfully good tomorrow. It's a revenge game for Creighton. And they are at home, which might mean something there. Marquette's played better here, except for that UConn game the last 6 weeks, so maybe Creighton comes back. The other one, Big East, this is, we overuse the term bubble eliminator, but I mean, this sort of fits this one. Providence is playing Villanova. Providence, a little bit of injury problem lately. They've hung in there for Kim English, but Villanova, if it can finish fast here, can move its way on the safe side of the cut line. I think they've got enough good wins to give them a chance to do that. So, and they're playing better lately. So Villanova might be one I'm looking at. Big East is kind of interesting because you got some teams, Providence, Villanova, St. John's, Seton Hall, all sort of hanging around the cut line, and that's going to be kind of intriguing until we get to the tournament in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that is going to be a fun conference to keep an eye on. Bruce, where can we find more of you?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Check me out at VegasInsider.com. All these picks. Hey, we're having a really good NBA run here. 8-1 last 3 nights, so that's going good. NHL, college hoops. VegasInsider.com. You can also read my stuff up there at CBS Sportsline, Sportsline.com, once in a while on HQ, and also my stuff up there now on MajorWager.com.
So, what's your tournament viewing schedule? How many bracket or how many tournaments will you take in Vegas?
I'm not sure this year because I've sent out for credentials, and we'll see what I do. I mean, the one thing about Vegas now is the Big West tournament is literally within walking distance from my home. So it's like, do I really want to drive down to UNLV or drive down to the Strip, to the Pac-12, when I could watch them on TV and then just walk out my front door in 6 minutes? I'm at the Dollar Loan Center to watch the Big West. So I mean, I'm not as young as I were a few years ago and driving all around. I might just decide to walk to the Big West and watch the other ones on TV.
Save that energy, Bruce. We're going to need it.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I know.
Bruce, thank you so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Okay, boys. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
You got it.
Bruce. Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net joins us every single Friday to talk wagering. He mentioned that they're on a heater for the NBA, so make sure you go get his picks for the weekend.
And very important games. He mentioned some of those kind of bubble busters this weekend. He mentioned Providence. Seton Hall in a big game, but tough ass for them to go to UConn. Sure. Utah at home against Cal. Utah's gotten popular among a lot of the bracketologists on the bubble.
Yeah, no, they absolutely are. So this is a big weekend for college basketball. A lot of moves and big games to kind of determine where that bubble is going to be sitting. As
this is when the tears start flowing when you get beat.
It really is, and kind of this now last week we're about to be in before most of the major conference tournaments. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Well, let's go ahead and grab a break, and when we come back, we're heading out to Arkansas to talk some Razorbacks with Ty Richardson.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas, Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg at East Memphis Ace. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ready to cook in only 15 minutes with cook temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between. Change your at-home cooking experience for life with our unmatched, authentic wood-fired grill flavor that has our customers raving. Get your Big Green Egg and all our accessories at East Memphis Ace on the corner of South White Station and Quince Road.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Memphis basketball takes on rival UAB Sunday at 4:30. Arrive early as we celebrate our seniors before the game and wear blue. Don't miss the final home game of the year. March is on the horizon, and we need you bringing the energy to FedEx Forum. Don't miss out on the game against renewed conference rival UAB this Sunday. Purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGo.com/tickets. See you there and wear blue.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of accidents getting some attention. It's busy now on 240 eastbound here at Mill Branch, working your way out to Bill Morris Parkway. At times it wants to run a little bit heavy on 55 South coming over the bridge there from West Memphis. It's been busy over here on this side of town on 240 up by Walnut Grove for the last 15-20 minutes. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. It's got to be Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Time to talk Razorbacks on Sportstime. Joining the guys is Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas to talk all things Hogs and SEC. On Twitter X at Ty Sports Radio, here's Ty Richardson with Bryant and Brett.
Come on, all you Razorback fans, let's stand up and call those Hogs!
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and joining us now from ESPN Arkansas, Ty Richardson joins us, talk some Razorbacks, talk some SEC. And Ty, another disappointing performance for the Razorbacks on the hardwood, a 85-82 loss against Vanderbilt at home, a Vanderbilt team that's really struggled this year. A late comeback made it look better for the Razorbacks, but a lot of the same, a very disappointing season. Now with 3 games left, Ty, what do you expect them to do in these last 3? 2 really, really tough ones. I think all are pretty tough. Kentucky and Alabama, and then right sandwiched in between those games is one against LSU.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing outcome on Tuesday night. It's one thing to lose to Vanderbilt in baseball right now. Mm-hmm. It's a completely other thing to lose to them in basketball. It's the first time they scored 80 points all season long. I think if you're Eric Musselman, you hope for a decent performance tomorrow. Not necessarily a win, but you just want your team to show up and compete. And then you should beat LSU at home, even because LSU clocked you in Baton Rouge. You should repay the favor. And then after that, you just kind of see what happens in Coleman and the SEC tournament. I don't expect them to win either game in Alabama or Kentucky, but they should win at least one game in Nashville. That's not asking too much of this basketball team.
Ty, how many guys next year do you think Eric Musselman, if he's back, how many think he would want back for his team next year?
That's a great question, Stats, and we've been really contemplating kicking that around the last couple weeks. I would say like 3 guys. I mean, I can see him cleaning house. So they've got Jalen Graham, Mekhi Mitchell, and Chandler Lawson all will graduate without eligibility after this season, or without eligibility. So you feel like they're going to add some beef in the transfer portal. They've got 2 incoming freshmen coming in, and then there's 7 other scholarship players that have more basketball left, including Devo Davis. I think that there's a good chance that half the remaining guys that are eligible to come back to Arkansas end up going elsewhere.
Devo has more eligibility?
Isn't that wild? Got a COVID year still. Because the NCAA tournament, if you remember Stats, I mean, when it actually happened, not when it got canceled in 2020, but 2021 with the mask and a fourth of attendance and all that, I guess gets him a COVID year.
Yeah, and he was great in that Elite Eight run year that year, but boy, it feels like he was a freshman back when Lindsey Howell was a freshman.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting to not just see the COVID year still being a thing in college sports, but for Devo, who some have made the case he's gotten worse since his freshman. I wouldn't say that. Definitely struggled mightily this senior year. Still trying to figure out what they're doing down the stretch, but yeah, he was definitely a catalyst as a freshman to get them to the Elite Eight. There's no question about that.
Ty, this is tough. This is, and if you want to swat this away, please do so. But KJ Jefferson or Devo Davis, which one do you think the fans are most glad to see headed out?
I think KJ, and the only reason I say that
quarterback,
is because of just the state connection. And again, the basketball team has been about as bad as the football team this year. And I think Phil Elson and Matt Jones were kicking this around yesterday. It's either the least or second least amount of conference wins that you've had combined with football and basketball since joining the Southeastern Conference. So it's like when you think about how much this fan base has gone through, and really you add in baseball losing in the regional to TCU last year. I mean, it's just been a brutal calendar year for Arkansas fans, and I don't blame them for being angry. I don't blame them for some of the stuff that's been said on social media, because their teams haven't lived up to the hype. Sometimes you do stupid things when you love something, and there's no doubt fans love the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned a lot of guys that you think could leave. You mentioned a couple guys might be back. Who would you like to see back from this team next year?
It's a great question. Layden Blocker, probably up near the top. Layden's a Little Rock kid, went to my high school, and has shown flashes this season. Hasn't played a ton. He would be one. I mean, I'd like to see Caleb Battle back. Caleb scored double digits each of the last 4 games, gone for 42 and I think 36 the last 2. So he's a guy that's going to be a hot commodity, I would think, in the transfer portal, and Arkansas is going to probably have to pay him to keep him in Fayetteville. So those 2, and I'm kind of hit or miss on Devo. Like, it might be better for his best interest and Arkansas if he just went to another school, being this late in the career based on what's happened the last 2 years. But I could see him coming back to school for one last ride this next year.
Ty got this question on our morning show Wednesday morning, point blank, back or not next year for Eric Musselman. I said no. What do you say?
I hope you're wrong, but I think there's a little more to your opinion than people that want to admit. I never thought when he arrived on campus and I started to learn a little about him and he was here that he was going to stay and retire as the Arkansas Razorbacks youth basketball coach, which if he ends up going elsewhere after this season, I know this season has been great, but 3 straight Sweet 16, 2 Elite 8, and bringing Arkansas back, to a point where it's like, okay, this is a job that you can win at and compete in Fayetteville, which I think is so important. So I don't know if it's necessarily this year's Stats, but he is not going to retire in Fayetteville. I would put my life savings on that.
Great point about the 2 Elite Eights and Sweet 16 last year. 8 NCAA tournament wins. Bryant, you know this. In Memphis, if Penny Hardaway had 8 NCAA tournament wins, we would be renaming the new bridge after him.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to postseason, right? And you
It
about
does.
Last year where they were 8-10 in the conference last year. For the most part, Anthony Black and the rest of that team. And I'm not talking about Anthony as an individual, but just the team overall underperformed. And then when the lights came on, they defeated the defending national champion. And if Self was coaching that game, was not dealing with heart issues, it could have been different. But he outcoached whoever Self's assistant is. So it's kind of how it falls sometimes, guys.
Yeah. Talking to Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas. He joins us to talk the Razorbacks and the SEC. Well, let's get something a little more happy, a little better over in Fayetteville. That's the baseball team, now up to number 2 in the country. Last week when we talked to you, Ty, they were getting ready for a top 10 matchup against Oregon State. They win that one 5-4, and Hagen Smith 17 strikeouts in that one. All pitchers combined for I think 59 strikeouts over the weekend for Arkansas, and then Hagen Smith today against Murray State adds another 12. What have you seen that has impressed you from this baseball team?
Brian, I'm glad you brought up the game today because Hagen Smith is one of the best pitchers in college baseball.
Incredible.
I think what's impressive about this starting rotation that Dave has is you got 3 Friday night guys. I mean, Brady Tiger is a Friday night guy on most SEC staff.
Mm-hmm.
Molina is at least
he was at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And is an all Big 12 performer. So, I mean, you go across the board, you talk to Tim Corbin and Vanderbilt, Kevin O'Sullivan in Florida, you talk to Jay Johnson at LSU. I mean, a lot of talent in those SEC coaches I just mentioned. And I don't think that they would be just like 100% gung-ho to keep their staff over Arkansas, at least pitching, maybe hitting and fielding. We'll have to wait and see on that. But it has been a beautiful thing to watch last weekend, and then what's happened so far with Hagen at this point. And you just hope he sustains it. It's one thing to do it this early. You got to do it in SEC play in postseason. We saw him break out as a true freshman, and now he's in his draft year, and hopefully he continues to have success.
And 2 weeks from this weekend, it starts SEC play, and that Friday night guy dictates everything. He goes out there and he puts up zeros or goes deep in that game. That saves your pitching for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, you think about, when Vanderbilt was rolling out, Leiter and Rocker.
Yeah.
I mean, that's both those
Lights
guys are
out.
unhittable. And you just had, I can't remember who the third guy was, but I think he was pretty solid as well. So that just puts you at an advantage like you're talking about. And Arkansas had it a couple years back with Blaine Knight, who did not register a loss all season, and then Isaiah Campbell, who's also a stud. So you've had Friday night guys, but it's the bullpen. Like you got to have a salty bullpen because every once in a while your starter just gets spell run. That just happens in college baseball. And if that happens, you got to have a guy that can come in and kind of steady the storm. And they've got that in Will McIntyre. Faraday, Wood, there's a lot of other young pitchers that Dave seems to be confident in. Again, I'm not going to jump way out in front because it's still early, but this is about as talented a pitching staff that we've seen for 2.5 weeks that maybe Dave's ever had.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch over these last couple of weeks. And like I said, Hagen Smith's performance today, again, another impressive start to the weekend. But Ty, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. We'll do it again next Friday.
Guys, I'm in Dallas. Got a friend's wedding I'll be at, and hopefully it'll end up being a good weekend.
I hope so for you, Ty. You are the wedding goer, man. You're either in them or going to them every weekend. You're in those years. Enjoy.
Got 6 more of them this year, including my sisters in Santa Barbara. So they just keep on coming.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll be fun, though. Thank you, Ty.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Ty Richardson with us every Friday during football and basketball season. We'll end with him in about 2 weeks after Arkansas in Nashville at the SEC tournament. We thank him so much because it was kind of the short straw year on the subject matter for him, and he's been great to us all year, informed about the SEC and the Razorbacks. This weekend, 2 great locations to get Memphis barbecue. The commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, or the original in Germantown and at Houston Levy and Poplar, perfect for a big group to get there and gather and watch the Grizzlies, watch the Tigers, watch anything you want to enjoy from sports all weekend. If you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary to 33733. Start that barbecue feast with the great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos, the smoked chicken wings. Terrific. The ribs, the shoulder, chopped or pulled with all the sides, and you can order it by the 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. Save room for dessert like the lemon icebox pie, the strawberry cake, or the banana pudding. Here's the number, 901-754-5540. Excuse me, or online at commissarybbq.com. In Collierville and Germantown, with the party areas, the orders to go, catering, tailgating, always time for the commissary. 901-754-5540. Excuse me, or online at commissarybbq.com.
Well, I hope I didn't jinx the Arkansas Razorbacks. I talked about Hagen Smith and his hot start, 12 strikeouts today for the Hogs. Now, Murray State, 2 on. I don't think any out in the top of the 8th, and only down 1. So hopefully,
they blamed it on me all week, so they can blame it on you with baseball.
Yeah, I'll take that. They can blame me for baseball. That's completely fine.
Who do I blame for the Coca-Cola going down the wrong pipe?
I'll blame Coca-Cola. Why not?
Can we sue them?
We can try. I mean, disrupted radio show.
Hit a break where I can cough.
Oh, I will. Don't worry. Let's get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
It's a new year, and Family Leisure has a new way to bring family and fun together. All you have to do is walk into Family Leisure and look around. All those floor model patio sets you see, those have got to go, so Family Leisure can make room for all the new sets coming. Get a wicker sofa set for under $2,000. Pool tables under $1,500. Theater seating for under $2,000. Hot tubs for $4,000 or just for yourself. If you really want to lounge, they're under $5,000. Need patio cushions? Get them as low as $25. Oh, have you seen those infrared steam saunas? Well, now they and the traditional saunas are 25% off. It may just be the first few weeks of 2024, but that doesn't mean you can't start getting ready for summer. 2 final things. Purchase your above-ground pool now and get first in line for installation, and take advantage of special financing that's available. Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, bringing the family and the fun back together.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Women here in Memphis are wearing bigger, better quality diamonds and some amazing designer rings thanks to the arrival of Genesis Diamonds. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis came on the scene here last year and shook up the jewelry world big time with rock-bottom prices on diamonds, a selection that's like 20 times ordinary stores, designer rings you can't find anywhere else, and guarantees and warranties that are the strongest in America. A relaxed, no-pressure, laid-back experience with no commission salespeople. Everybody here is loving what Genesis is doing. Whether you want a lab-grown diamond or a natural diamond, Genesis will easily beat anyone else's price. The owner is a former diamond wholesaler, and Genesis has cornered the market on the world's most acclaimed designer rings. They have all the top 10 designers in the bridal world, thousands of handcrafted rings made by the premier designers. For whatever special occasion you have coming up, don't go to the old-fashioned stores for the same old, same old. Discover the store that's raised the bar in quality, selection, and value. Prepare to be blown away. Genesis Diamonds on Poplar at Perkins Extended.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, well, my number today is the number 1. A small number.
Okay.
But I do really love this big number. I got this from OptiStats on Twitter. Only one player in NBA history has had, over the course of his entire career, same month or not, 50-plus assists in a month, 45-plus blocks in a month, 25-plus threes made in a month, 20 or more steals in a month. That one player, Johnny, care to take any guesses?
LeBron James.
Incorrect. That one player would be the number 1 pick, Victor Wembanyama, for the San Antonio Spurs. He did all of that in February at the age of 20.
Doesn't he wear uniform number 1?
He wears uniform number 1. Very good, Brett. That's right. That's why I picked number 1. But also you could say only one player.
Only one.
Only one. And it's Victor. But also, grain of salt, leap year.
Well, but there have been leap years before.
Well, Brett, I don't know.
Not the first time we ever had the 29th of February,
More
is it?
days, though. Take it with a grain of salt. Do it next February. Then I'll believe it.
All right, if he does it in 28 days, that would really be something. My big number is 62. Kentucky's on its way to its record 62nd NCAA tournament appearance. 8-time champions, but the last time for them to even be in the Sweet 16 was 2019. Kentucky's not playing just to get in the tournament. They're playing for advancement. I don't even know if they play for Sweet 16s. I think kind of Elite 8's the baseline for them. If you look at the mock brackets today, the rest of the season for Kentucky, they have a home tomorrow at Rupp against Arkansas, at Rupp Wednesday night against Vandy, next Saturday at Thompson Bowling against Tennessee. So at worst, they're going 2-1 the rest of the way. Then they get to the Kentucky Invitational in Nashville. They'll win at least 2 there, won't they?
Yeah.
So that they could improve their seed. But today, Jerry Palm's got Kentucky as a 5 that's playing Samford in the first round. I think tricky game.
Oh, certainly.
If they win, they play the winner of the 4-13 game. That probably would be Duke over App State, so then it would be Kentucky and Duke in a second-round game.
Holy cow.
That's got some beef to it, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Joe Lunardi, he has Kentucky. Oh, where are they? He has Kentucky as a 4 seed, opening against Vermont.
Okay.
And then getting the winner of the 5-12 game, Washington State, App State.
Wow.
Either one of those would be tough against Kentucky. Remember, App State beat Auburn.
Sure did, yeah, early in the season. Wasn't that a home game at App State?
It was.
Very strange.
If they survived out of that, they would probably hook up with UConn, and that would, I think, would be the end of the road for Kentucky. These fans are happy right now. They've turned it on, and they've really galvanized around Reed Sheppard.
Sure.
a lot to like. Son of a legendary player, MOP of the '98 national championship, Tubby Smith winning team for Kentucky that year. But they're not going to be satisfied at all with anything before the Sweet 16 exit.
No, not at all. And I mean, you're talking that 5-12. Everyone says, the day the bracket comes out, figure out your favorite 12 seed, because we always get a 5 over a 12. Those games are always tricky for that 5 seed, and if they can't get up to the 4, I mean, that's going to be a tricky game for them in the first one.
It feels like this is the year, and a lot of years feels like it. Take all the 10s, all the 11s, all the 12s to get to the Sweet 16, and you do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the joy of the March Madness and the bracket.
Now that's where it usually ends, because as it goes to that middle, it goes to the big boys.
Sure. Absolutely. And those big boys usually step up and show why they were the number 1s and the number 2 seeds. And
they're privately loving the upsets.
Absolutely.
Not even private about it. They love the upsets.
They love it. I mean, I'm sure I don't even remember now, but I'm sure whoever the 2 seed was in Purdue's region last year was jumping for joy when FDU beat Purdue. Oh, now we're basically the 1 seed in this region. It didn't end up working out for them, but still, yeah, absolutely. The higher seeds love the upsets because it just makes their road easier.
When George Mason, I was at the game when George Mason upset Rudy Gay and UConn, Florida and Billy Donovan were throwing a victory party.
Absolutely.
They'd much rather get George Mason and for that team like FAU last year, from winning on Saturday or Sunday, punching that ticket to get to that Final Four city, that pressure just builds over that week for them.
Sure does.
And then they get out there at that open practice, and there's 60,000 at shoot-around on Friday.
Yep. I
think they all I saw when I went to the Final Four in 2018, I saw it happen to Loyola.
It's different. I mean, you're used to an empty gym during shoot-around and just the guys hanging out, talking, and now everybody's got eyes on you while you're just getting through a shoot-around, and that can be intimidating for some of these, Cinderella smaller teams that make.
I know Butler got close, and except for the last second, rim out it from midcourt, but close doesn't count.
No, close does not count. Only in horseshoes. So it's gonna be a lot of fun over these next weeks as we kind of start to figure out where these seeds are gonna be, figure out that bubble, because and Bruce said it earlier this hour that bubble seems kind of wide open right now. There are a lot of teams kind of around that bubble that could be
big old bubble,
could be left out, and it feels like we have that a lot of years, and it seems like we're right back to it this year.
A good one tomorrow in the SEC. Mississippi State going to Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn coming off that loss at Thompson-Boling. Mississippi State coming off that heartbreaker at home to Kentucky. They'll get after it good tomorrow on the Plains.
Yeah, they will. That's a really good point. That's going to be a fun game. A lot of really good games tomorrow. I mean, just hearing the list and seeing some of those matchups for tomorrow.
Kansas,
really
Baylor.
Oh, man, that one I'm super excited for. So, I mean,
Oregon, Arizona.
Tomorrow's the day. Kick your feet up and
this is the time.
Just watch hoops all day, because it seems like every single window there's a marquee matchup.
It could be at the end for Mick Cronin at UCLA. They're at Washington State tomorrow.
Yeah, and that'll be a really good game. So a lot of fun games tomorrow, so it's going to be a really fun weekend in college basketball. We need to go ahead and wrap up this hour, get to a break. When we come back, we're talking Tiger basketball with Jason Munns.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdingers offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with two of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better? I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store with 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, big to little. Finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and Weber grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, even new keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws, you need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Quince and White Station.
Join Sharon, Gigi, and your Memphis Grizzlies tonight at 7 p.m. when your Grizzlies host the Portland Trailblazers on Grizz's birthday. Arrive early, first 5,000 will receive Little Grizz in a box. Get loud, show your grit, and get ready for an epic matchup by securing your tickets today at Grizzlies.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Busy now out here on 40 eastbound as you come past Sycamore View Road all the way out to Germantown Parkway. Just that normal buildup now on 240, sometimes east and westbound at Mill Branch, mostly eastbound as you continue on out to 385 Billmores Parkway. I see it picking up on I-40 up by Chelsea in the Midtown area. 55 still wants to run a little bit slow. Southbound 55 coming over from West Memphis across the bridge. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. It's got to be Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
It's 5 o'clock on Friday, and as we've done since the basketball season started, we visit with Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal. It's presented to you by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville, the award-winning Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal on the Tigers basketball beat. Brought to you every Friday by Jim's Place Grill. Over 100 years of charcoal grill steaks, over 100 years of celebrations, family time, and lasting great fun memories. Recipes that date back to the beginning in downtown and now in Collierville at the railroad tracks at Poplar and Houston Levee. Online at jimsplacegrill.com. Don't forget the E in Grill. The Terrace family with their touch for our community in every state. Grill perfectly over an open flame. Come to Jim's Place and taste and see and feel the difference. Since 1921, a Memphis landmark with hard work, values, and a dedication to their diners, the Terrace family, they've created that memorable dining experience. Lunch hours, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Dinner hours, Monday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 9:30. Lunch menus like the staples, like the souffle ma, the shrimp cocktails, the crab cakes, and the salad dressings, all homemade. At dinner, the calamari, the soups, the seafood, and the steaks that they're famous for, ribeyes, fillets, and strips. It'll be packed all weekend. Come and enjoy that fantastic bar area at Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. Jason Munns, first, congratulations. Well earned on the awards, and you have nailed it. The paper has nailed it with the Tiger coverage, and congratulations to you. I know it's a lot of hard work in it.
I appreciate it. Yes, it is. This is not scripted. We have not had a pre-interview, but you could not have segued into a little anecdote that I picked up while I was on the road yesterday any more perfectly than you just did. You're talking about the hard work. I went to check into my hotel yesterday afternoon when I got to Raleigh. I stayed in Raleigh, checked in to the hotel, went to a couple of record stores in Raleigh, and then made the drive over to Greenville, about an hour and a half, and then after the game, drove the hour and a half back, got up this morning, flew out. But when I checked into the hotel, I ran into John Fanta, who is he's sort of the up-and-coming play-by-play, TV play-by-play, college basketball play-by-play guy for CBS Sports. And it was just the two of us in the lobby, and I introduced myself. And he asked me, who I work for and everything and what I do. And I told him I'm the Tiger basketball beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. And he goes, ooh. He physically winced. And it was like, not so much, not like, ooh, Memphis is bad. It was just like,
right. Battle pay wins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You never sleep. I mean, he even said something like that. He was like, do you ever not have your laptop or your phone? And I was just like, no,
never.
It is constant. But, and I was thinking about this even before before that stuff was announced earlier this week about the APSC stuff. I wouldn't. The alternative scares me to death. The alternative of covering a program where it's like I might have news once a week, maybe. Or once every, couple times a week, maybe, that scares me to death. So I would, it is grueling, but it's incredibly rewarding.
The consumer, the reader, appreciates it, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate them probably more than they appreciate me, because without them and their passion and their, without the fans and the readers and the subscribers and all that stuff, I wouldn't be here. So, yeah, it's all for them.
Well, Jason, some of the breaking news that you've had to keep an eye on recently has been Malcolm Dandridge and the team keeping him out from games because of this investigation going on. You reported yesterday that he was not with the team for the game against East Carolina. He did not travel to Carolina with the team. And I saw some fans in your comment section, some fans at other places trying to say that to them was a bad thing, that since he didn't travel with the team, that meant bad news. Do you view it that way? Did anything stand out to you with the fact that he wasn't with the team yesterday? Or was that just kind of basic protocol? He can't play. He's not going to travel with the team.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was anything more than just the way. So it was I think 2 years ago with the Monty Bates and Landers, Nolly, and all the drama that went into that season. And there were a lot of injuries that season, with I think Landers missed some games, Jalen Duren missed some games. Obviously, Imani he had a finger thing, then he had a back thing, and I distinctly remember though that season, Penny sort of adopting this policy that if you're hurt, you're not coming. If you're injured, you are not going to be coming on the trips because. We've got to cut out the just sort of extra stuff. Like this is crunch time. This is do or die time. I need everybody
locked in business trip.
Yeah, exactly. I need laser focus from everybody, and it's not like a knock on Malcolm Dandridge or whoever it was, Landers Nolly. It's not a knock on them. It's just sort of human nature. If you aren't playing and you aren't going to play, well, that's the other thing is these are young guys. Like, it's human nature to sort of, I don't know, like not be engaged if you aren't going to play, and that sort of thing.
To be clowning in the lobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that sort of thing can be contagious. And so I think that's my understanding for why he was not there. It didn't have anything to do with, it wasn't like a sign of anything, really. It was just, again, a couple of years ago, Penny adopted this policy, and this is not injury related, obviously, but no, I don't think it was anything more than that.
I support the coach 100% on that because you're right, Jason. It is just natural human nature. If you're not in the arena, the horsing around could increase, and that could infect others. Is this the conclusion? Are we coming to the end of 5 years? You on the beat, 1920, the first year.
Yep, this will be the end of my. This will be this. Yeah, we're going to finish my 5th season.
Wow. Okay, incredibly loaded question. On March 1, where is this team compared to those 5 teams? Is it 5th? Is it 1st? Is it 2nd? Where would it rank of those 5 teams on March 1?
Like how good it is, or what?
Mm-hmm. How good is
potential they have?
Not potential. How good is it heading? Just right now to this date.
I would say probably 2nd. I think last year was, from like a nuts and bolts, wins and losses, just overall quality of the program and the team and the resume. I think last year had it. I mean, I know that they didn't beat Houston until the conference tournament championship, but that team was really, really kicking some butt there.
It was my favorite Penny team, last year's team.
Yeah. It was just it was the most grounded. It was the least turbulent. It was, it didn't have sort of the marquee wins that this team has or that other teams had. I mean, they went to Knoxville and beat Tennessee a few years ago, and that was great. And 2 years ago, they went to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 10 years and beat Boise and had Gonzaga on the ropes in the second half, the number 1 overall seed in that year's tournament. But, I think last year was to me, I don't know. I just that to me just felt like the most stable, the most dependable, the most reliable. The quality was on March 1st. I think last year's team was tops. I would say this year's team is probably 2nd. I would say this year's team is probably 2nd to last year's team.
So now 3 straight wins for the Tigers. The dominant performance against Charlotte, then the really good performance against FAU, and now the win last night against East Carolina. I know Penny Hardaway kind of talked about from that really, embarrassing performance where we were all questioning if they had given up against SMU, and then to now have these 3 wins. What have you seen that has changed with this team since that loss against SMU?
Well, I think their pride finally got hit rock bottom after that SMU game, and I think that's what had to happen. It feels like to me that's what had to happen if there was going to be a turnaround. It wasn't going to be, they lost to Rice at home. It wasn't going to be, we blew a 20-point lead at home to South Florida. That stuff in the moment felt like rock bottom, and you could argue it was in one way, shape, or form. But I think getting embarrassed the way they did against SMU, and it wasn't. See, a lot. I think the conversation around that game is sort of there's been it's been a little flawed. Like, I think there's a lot of people who say the team gave up, the team quit in that game. I don't think. I think it's more nuanced than that. Mm-hmm. I think they had their will taken away from them first and foremost. They were getting whipped, and then they quit. Both things are true. Like, they didn't just quit. Right. They were getting their butts kicked, and then they quit. And I think that's an important distinction in that conversation. But I think that, again, that's what had to happen, is their pride needed to hit rock bottom. And I think that's exactly what happened against SMU. And, I think what we're seeing now is the reaction to that. It's like, hey, like, what are we doing? We've got to stop this. This is the last ride for a lot of us. And we want to make some noise. We don't want to go out like this. And then the other thing, the basketball part of it, to me, is unlocking Naquan Tomlin. That's his emergence. It's no coincidence that as he has emerged, the team is much better. In his last 4 games, he's averaging 18.5 points and I think 6.7 or 6.8 rebounds a game in his last 4. And I know one of those, obviously the first of those 4 games was the SMU game, but what they have now with Naquan Tomlin, I think there is a huge difference between having 2 guys and having 3 guys. I think there is a huge elevation from having a 1-2 punch and then having a 3-headed monster. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing now is, for so long it was David Jones, Javon Quinterly. And which is great. Like, last year was great. Kendrick Davis, DeAndre Williams, one of the better 1-2 punches in the country. But if they'd had a 3-headed monster last year, imagine how far they could have gone. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing now is Naquan Tomlin is getting a lot more comfortable. Everybody's getting a lot more comfortable with him. And now they've kind of got that 3-headed monster.
And you don't have to play Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars twice in the next 10 days. Nice.
No, you don't. Although you might. I was actually talking to somebody about this a little while ago today. Like, there's so much that could happen over the next week, and that there's a conceivable scenario where Memphis plays at Boca at FAU on March 9th, the Saturday, the regular season finale, and then has to turn around, and their reward for actually getting the double bye, which is what they're striving for right now. They're 6th in the conference standings. To get the double bye, you got to finish in the top 4. It's like, congratulations, you've gotten the double bye. Now you get to play FAU in the quarterfinals. Like, there's a scenario where that could happen. Not by any stretch of the imagination am I comparing FAU to Houston. Houston is it is very, I would imagine. I mean, the competitor in Penny Hardaway, I'm sure, would love to still be playing Houston, meaningful games against Houston in March. But I'm sure he is also, on the other hand, quietly thinking to himself, "Whew, like don't have to see them again for a while." And so yeah, I'm sure that's bouncing around in his head somewhere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Talking to Jason Munns, the Tiger basketball beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. As always, he's presented by Jim's Place Grill in Collierville. Well, last night after the game, talking on the postgame show, Nicholas Jourdain told Dave Woloshin that his plan was to return next year. You talked to him after that. I know seems like in this day and age in college basketball, nothing is ever finalized, but how big would that be to have a guy like Nicholas Jourdain back next year?
Well, huge. I mean, especially considering what was it just a couple of weeks ago? There was and I know fans are fans, and they let their imaginations run wild, and they have their defense mechanisms and all that sort of thing. There was a lot of people just assuming that based on the way the season had turned, that everybody was just going to leave.
Right.
That people were inevitably just going to be fed up with this, and they were going to take off. And so we were just all going to have to start from scratch. And I'm not saying that that's not largely. I mean, it's entirely possible that. Who knows? Again, who knows? Nobody knows anything really at this stage. But it's conceivable that Nicholas Jourdain is the only player from this year's team that returns and is back next season. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. But I will say that there was some conversations sort of off to the side over the last couple of weeks that maybe Nick Jourdain decides he's going to go possibly play overseas. Like he, at the time he was playing really well. He sort of hit a little bit of a slump before he, had a good game last night. But there was some chatter that maybe he was going to go play overseas and go ahead and start his pro career. I mean, he's older. He had a year in prep school, and this is his fourth season of college basketball. He's not from here and all that, and but that's what he said on the radio last night, and I gave him a little grief because he said it like literally 7 minutes after he had talked to us, and I was just like, why didn't you tell us? But it was all in good fun. But no, having him come back, and the way he phrased it to me when I did catch up to him was, that is the plan. So we all know what happens with plans sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But as we sit here today, I think it is a huge shot in the arm to have. He will be a fifth-year guy. He will be in his second year in the system, in the program, and he's already giving you, some of the best minutes from a non-star that maybe you've had out of anybody during your tenure. If you're Penny Hardaway, he's not putting up like the same type numbers that Lester Quinones eventually started to put up, but I would argue that he's in that type of conversation.
You can count on him.
Yeah, like with everything that he brings from the hustle and the defense, and he can hit the three, he can catch lobs at the rim, he can rim run, he can rebound, he can do so many different things, and he's I just think it's a huge shot in the arm to have him committed. I mean, it's kind of like a verbal commitment to have him verbally committed to come back next year.
Jason, game on Sunday against UAB. Owe them one. Take care of business Sunday. Then you got the run up to FAU down there next Saturday afternoon, and then the travel and the planning gets a little crazy. Next week in that work time, what would you prefer the Tigers work more on out of these two options? I know they're going to work on everything, but on these two options, what would you prefer them work on? Playing against a zone defense or implementing some zone, a little more zone principle?
Oh, gosh. If you'd asked me that a week and a half ago, I would have said hands down implementing a zone defense.
Me too. I said it during the open date, didn't I, Brian?
Sure did.
But how about this? They gave up 58 points to a team on their home floor yesterday. And I know East Carolina's they're not great, especially offensively.
Right.
They're like the only reason they're 500 at all is because of their defense. But again, on their home floor, you just held them to 58 points. What'd they hold Charlotte to? 52 points, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And that's a Charlotte team that was at the time in second place in the standings and still is tied for second place in the league standings. FAU is one of the most powerful offenses in the conference. I think they're second in scoring offense right now, still behind Tulane somehow. They held them to 74 points. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that pride thing. They're playing with more pride, and the defense is picked it up. So I guess if I'm picking one or the other, I would say dial in on going against the zone, like figuring out
they're going to see a lot
how
of zone.
figuring out how to attack zone defenses. I mean, because like I said, the defense they've played the last week and a half has been pretty good. And I think I asked Naquan Tomlin about this last night, as a matter of fact, because he has really stepped up his game on the defensive end. And he says he reminded me, because I had kind of forgotten about it when he got here. He was on a bum ankle, and those tend to linger, and they take a while to get over. And he's finally over it. He said he couldn't exactly pinpoint when he felt like he was at 100%, but he's playing really, really well on both ends of the floor, and maybe having a healthier Naquan Tomlin is the key to unlocking, the key to solving their defensive issues.
Yeah, it seems to be working well. Sunday afternoon against UAB, what do you expect to see as the Tigers look for revenge against the Blazers? And what's your score prediction?
I don't have the score prediction in front of me. I will look it up while we talk. But I think so. I thought this was interesting. The Yaxel Lindeborg, who had 23 and 15 or something against Memphis in their first meeting, his play, he's still playing lights out. He's still sort of owning everybody since that game. I think you just have to, obviously you gotta try your best to slow him down. Try your best to remove him, or at least put him in a different part of the equation. Because I don't know if you can remove him. But the interesting thing is Eric Gaines, their sort of top-notch guard, scored 20 points against Memphis in the game at Birmingham. In his last 4 games, he has scored 6 points, 2 points, 6 points, and 0 points.
Wow.
He played 27 minutes at home against Wichita State, which is, I think, next to last in the standings right now, held him to 0 points. They shut him out. So if that's it's obviously a trend. He's not producing offensively, points-wise anyway. He's still, facilitating, but he's not scoring points. I think if you can extend that at least for one more game, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape. I just looked it up. My prediction was Memphis 85, UAB 69. I think Memphis is just clicking right now. Yeah. It's the last home game of the year. It's senior night. It's revenge. It is, Penny said it very clearly last night when I asked him. I was like, as the game was getting in the waning minutes, and you guys were not taking your foot off the gas whatsoever, was a little bit of that the net. I asked him, I was like, was a little bit of that, the net factor into that a little bit at all? And he goes, you have to think about the net.
Have to. They're making you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 79 in the net going into the season. You have to. You're running out of opportunities to get that corrected. Now, they beat them by 24 points. Second 24-point victory in a span of 8 days, by the way. And they've gone up 20 spots during this 3-game winning streak. They've gone up 20 spots in the net. They're at 72 today. So I think again, they've got a lot of momentum. They're playing really well on top of that, and they owe them one. And I think they're gonna put it on them.
Yeah, I'm with you. It should be a really fun afternoon on Sunday, and we'll see you there, Jason. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thanks,
Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much. That was a long night and an early morning for Jason Munns, for him to be this spry at 5:25.
Yeah, no, I mean, but like you said, I mean, with this job covering the Tigers, I mean, he is going, because there is always something newsworthy going on with this team. And
it's covered just like the Grizzlies are.
It is, and I'm so glad it is, because you look around and there are a lot of teams, Brett, as much as I like college basketball, I'll go and try to find out things about these other teams and look at beat writers and stuff like that, and there's just not that much access at other places and that much coverage.
Compare the pro towns with viable. Marquette doesn't get this. Georgetown doesn't get this.
No.
Houston Cougars don't get this. Tulane sure doesn't. LSU doesn't in the New Orleans market with the Pelicans. I bet in San Antonio, Texas doesn't get anything close to this. Now in Austin, I know they do, but I would dare say UCLA doesn't.
Yeah, you're probably right. So we are very lucky with the coverage we have here on the Tigers with both football and basketball. It's really, really good. Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Okay, so there are some rules about what someone can and cannot say on a commercial. For one thing, you have to tell the truth, something not everyone necessarily follows to the letter. And there are a couple of phrases we're absolutely not supposed to say. For example, this is March, and this is an ad for Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect bar. As you know, while Bell Tavern isn't a sports bar, there are always sports playing on the TVs. And in March, there is one particular basketball event that Memphians really love. But I can't say the name of it. I can say Madness, and I can say March, but I can't say, well, you get the idea. Anyway, if you want to enjoy the third month of the year craziness, Bell Tavern's the place.
Does your current trophy wife want a life insurance policy 3 times the size of your previous mistakes? Relax and call Big Lou at Term Provider. Big Lou says if you're in your 50s, even a bit porky, a $1 million term life policy should only cost about $200 to $300 per month. Call Big Lou at 800-529-2856. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He likes trophies, too. For affordable life insurance, call 800-529-2856.
Chris Price, it's so good to see you. And you have a new business?
Yes, Dave. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Have you noticed water stains on your ceiling? With storm season here, take a walk around your home or business and look up. Make sure there are no water stains signaling a leak prior to the heavy storms coming in. If you do see signs of water, call me. My team and I will come out, diagnose the problem, and prescribe a fix. Our team of Hague-certified inspectors are waiting to assist with any inspection or repairs you may need. We have 3 crews dedicated to repairing roofs in the Mid-South. As certified Owens Corning and Mule High dealers, we offer 20-year, no-dollar limit labor and material warranties that offer hassle-free ownership. That's our hassle-free ownership guarantee. Allow Metro Builders team of professionals to assist you in maintaining your property's integrity and value. MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Your local commercial roof experts. Ask about our commercial roof maintenance agreements. Protect your investment with MetroBuildersMemphis.com. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. 375-1717.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available.
convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We still have heavy traffic headed out towards Fayette County on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway. I know we had that wreck earlier near Abilene. Traffic's really cranking up over here now on 240 East from Mill Branch out to 385. Billmore's Parkway actually looks pretty good as you continue out towards Collierville. Now it's going to get busy here in the next few minutes as you come off 240 on to 385. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in the Memphis area. It's got to be Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. Check them out at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Johnny Hill producing us as always. And as always, we're in our Family Leisure Studios. About 30 minutes left in today's show. Brett, you had a scheduling nugget for the Tigers that I'm very interested in. You kind of teased that to us off air during the break, so I'm curious what it is.
Here it is. In the preseason, when we went W's and L's, you and Johnny Hill both said 23-8. If they win the next two, the Tigers will have gone 23-8.
How about that, Johnny?
Hey, man, just a lot of
wow.
Beginner's luck, man. Well, for me, it is.
For you.
Circuitous route to get there, but you got there.
Hey.
Last year I had 23-8, and the Tigers got there. This year I had 24-7. That's been long gone for a while. But 23-8, 24-7.
Not far off.
At least we weren't out there at 29-2.
No.
And 30-1 like some.
No, I mean that was
seriously.
That was just crazy. I mean, you mix how tough Memphis's non-conference schedule was with just the fact that you're going to get scuffed up at
that's
points
the
in
circuitous part.
Yes.
We kind of missed on the 9, it was much better. And then in the conference aspect of it, that has been that roller coaster, and we go back to that Rice game. You can even go back to the game at Tulane. Just hard to believe either one of those. Certainly both, and it would be easy street to be in the tournament. Maybe not, with a great seed. You change those two. Now I know we're getting into a lot of changes because there were narrow wins.
Sure,
narrow win at Tulsa, narrow win over Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
The narrow win over Clemson.
SMU, a narrow win.
SMU. But you change home against Rice and at Tulane and just have one of those two in Texas.
Sure.
Then the seed really improves, and that's what we were all hoping and expecting. But none of that happened. This is where we are Sunday afternoon against UAB, and I think the Tigers will win the last home game of the year. Can you believe that? We talked about first day of March, and it got here fast, and Bruce Marshall said it really did feel like last week was Thanksgiving. Yeah. And here we are.
I mean, it really it's fast. I mean, I was telling you last week, or maybe this might have been while you were out, Brett, and it was just Johnny and I, but I was talking about how I was looking at kind of the slate of games one night, and I realized, holy cow, a lot of these teams only have 2 or 3 games left on their schedule, and that's kind of when it hit me of, man, this season's almost done. It feels like it just started, and that's, with the beginning of the season, so much football and basketball mixed in, and then, conference season's there before you know it. The basketball seasons go by very fast.
And boom, then it's senior day at a lot of places, and that starts kind of the emotional, not sad tears, but it's happy sad tears on senior days. But we're getting down now to a loss. Just not many losses left in people at this time of year.
No, there's not, and that's kind of the spot the Tigers are in is, obviously they control their own destiny in terms of winning games, but they also would like for some of those other bubble teams to struggle down the stretch, but you're to the point where we're talking only 1 or 2 games for most people, and so for the teams that are in, that's obviously beneficial to them, but the teams that are out and need to do some work, that can kind of hurt you.
Yeah, last night was simple, easy, kind of hope for that Sunday, and then, the shot next Saturday at FAU, the early game, national TV, CBS game, beat them, and with some other movement around the college basketball world, maybe have that, as Jason Munn's talked about, have that net improve, get into higher 50s. Sure. 59 is a good number in Memphis. Get in those higher 50s, and then hope the bubble breaks your way.
Yeah, absolutely, and so certainly still work to do, but we'll see what they can do Sunday at home against UAB for Senior Day. I'm pretty confident in what they can do. I really like the way this team's been playing. Well, Sunday is when the Tigers will be in FedEx Forum. Tonight, the Grizzlies back in FedEx Forum for the back-to-back tonight against the Trailblazers, tomorrow night again against the Trailblazers, and both Jonah Dillon, Drew Hill, and DeMichael Cole all reporting that both Luke Kennard and John Conchar will be out tomorrow. So we talked earlier about all the injuries going on right now. Luke Kennard and John Conchar were both listed as doubtful. Now both will be out, according to Jonah Dillon, who helps out with coverage for the Grizzlies at the Commercial Appeal. Gigi Jackson will play tonight. According to Taylor Jenkins, he was listed as questionable. Also, it sounds like Jaren he was already ruled out tonight. Sounds like they're going to see how he's doing tomorrow, see if he can go tomorrow, but it might be a couple of days before we see Jaren back out there.
Game number 60 tonight, so that means tonight, including tonight, there's 23 to go, and it's get to the finish, isn't it?
It is, and we knew we would kind of get to this point. I mean, it's still fun to watch these guys go out there and play, but it's starting to sink in, especially with these injuries. It's less.
It was more fun 2 weeks ago.
It was, and now when you've got Jaren out and Luke out and John Conchar out, it's starting to be okay. These injuries have piled up all season long. Let's get to the finish line and let's start talking off season. Let's start talking draft, free agency, and get ready for next year.
Do you kind of wish, if this had to happen, do you wish it would have been next year to get the Phenom to be in that mix for him? Because there's not that player this year.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, because I still don't love the Grizzlies' chances at being number one. I'm sure you'd be tanking a lot more if it happened next year and you had kind of that prospect. I just think this Grizzlies team's in a good spot where if you can just add one more piece, you're not really looking for a starter out of this draft, I don't think. We talked to DeMichael on Monday, and he said he doesn't really trust any centers. He thinks that if you go out and get a center, it'll be through either free agency or a trade. So you're likely looking at somebody to come off the bench. So I think with where the Grizzlies are in terms of maybe go-for-it status, I think I'm happy it happened this year to try to get back on track next year.
And sometimes those best-laid tanking plans can really come undone. Mm-hmm. The year the Grizzlies fell to 2, I still say you'd rather have Ja Morant than Zion Williamson.
Absolutely.
And Bryant, didn't it speak volumes that week and a half debate of the next LeBron? You never heard anybody say Zion.
No, not at all. And so, you're right. Obviously, if the Grizzlies had, won lottery night and come out with the number one pick, they very clearly would have drafted Zion Williamson.
And we would be thinking, we're cursed.
Absolutely.
We're never getting a break.
Absolutely. But it worked out, and now you've got Ja Morant, and obviously hadn't been able to be on the court this year. But in terms of on court, I mean, one of the most talented guards in the NBA right now. And if he can, get back to what he was doing before his injury next season, I think you absolutely won that draft. And it was all because you just lost out on that number one pick.
SEC this weekend, and the hopes of 9 bids I think it's really turned out. Just hang on to the 7. Here's the net for the SEC. Tennessee's 5, Bama 6. They play tomorrow in Tuscaloosa. Auburn 7, Kentucky's 20, Mississippi State's 31, Florida 34, South Carolina 47, Then you dip down a little bit to A&M 58, and then it really falls off to Ole Miss at 78, LSU 89, Georgia 98, Arkansas 125, Missouri 149, and Vanderbilt after a win on the road at 214.
Wow. Yeah, and we've been kind of saying this for a while about, these brackets and the 9 teams from the SEC, that it just seemed like at some point 1, 2, a couple of those teams were going to fall off, and it was going to be hard always. It seemed like it was going to be hard to get 9 teams in.
Could South Carolina play out?
That's a really good question. They, I think, really need to take care of business tomorrow, because that would be, at home against a ranked Florida team would be that kind of good win, get back on track, and stay in. But it's not
it wouldn't
easy.
Crush them if they lost.
No, but if you lose there, lose to Tennessee,
there you go.
Tough road game at Mississippi State, you lose that one, and then maybe get picked off early in the SEC tournament.
That's it.
That's really when you get uncomfortable. So I think your best shot is just go ahead and take care of business, win against Florida tomorrow, and then we're pretty comfortable.
Tomorrow, a loss at home to Florida is the anatomy of 4 straight and being left out.
Yeah. I mean, that's really when it gets tough, and so I think that's going to be a big one tomorrow to start the day at 11. I think South Carolina really needs to win that, and then you feel comfortable. You get that one out of the way. A loss against Tennessee, you beat Tennessee, perfect. Loss against Tennessee is not going to hurt you at all. Loss at Mississippi State, maybe do a little bit, but if you get that win against Florida, I think you're feeling really good.
Brian, I would say about Florida, watching them this year, different pieces, kind of young, I would say they're next year's team.
Yeah.
You can't say that about anybody anymore.
No. I mean, and just like we were talking about earlier with Nicholas Jourdain, okay, great. He said it last night, but that could very easily change when the Tigers are completely done for the season.
I need to see him enrolling for first session of summer school.
And Brett, I need to see more than that. I mean, what we've seen now with Mikey Williams, obviously different situation there. J.J. Taylor deciding to transfer in the middle of the season. I need to see him on the court before I really believe anything.
Opening nights when you really believe it.
It really feels like it. And so, that's everywhere. A team that looks really good and is really young, and you get another year of them, it's all up in the air, because very easily 1 player leaves, 2 player leaves, 3 players leave, and now you have a new team.
Probably more of a summertime topic, a lot more time than the next minute and a half that we're going to give it. But can we sustain in college basketball and even in college football that much just we're fans of the clothes, of the uniforms, of the school, of the fight song? Don't we need to know them a little bit longer and a little bit more?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the kind of hard part of it is you get so used to with college football, with college basketball of, okay, look, we've got, especially college basketball where you only have 15 guys on a roster. Okay, look, we've got these 3 freshmen coming in. They're probably going to sit that first year, but we're going to learn about them. And then that next year, you'll start seeing them. By the time they're a junior, senior, you know everything about them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the whole team. You get those guys. Jeremiah Martin, perfect example. You'll get those one and dones, but obviously it's not the entire team. And now it's kind of turning into every year is a one and done opportunity because you can just easily transfer. And so I think it is tough. I mean, I think, what was it? I feel like you were getting into conference play before people really felt like they even knew the roster and knew who the guys were on the court.
And we never got to know Carl Sharonfont.
No, didn't get to know him. Certainly didn't get to know J.J. Taylor before he transferred. Mikey Williams, didn't even get to see his face. And, those are your freshmen that you brought in. And so I think it's really hard to kind of keep that of, we're going to know them, we're going to love them, because everything can change in just 1 year, really, a couple months. But that's definitely a topic that we can get back into in the summer, because I think it's a really good one. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. And when we come back, we'll wrap up today's show. We'll wrap up this week with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
I wish you could see the beautiful azaleas and dogwoods in bloom. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. I can't tell you how many times clients in November have told me that the flowers are truly breathtaking and the pool sparkles, but in November, it won't. But I say rush the season. Take photos in March, April when the azaleas are in full bloom, and take pictures of the pool when it's open. And maybe show some kids in the pool playing. So when you sell your home in the winter months, people don't have to use their imagination. They can see the beauty of your home as you see it. And when you're taking your pictures and thinking of selling at some point in the future, remember what people often say. When you want the job done, call Shell Done. You can reach me at memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546. At Shell Done Rosengarten, the worst golfer in town, at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
If you're like most people, you've had your fair share of financial questions. Questions like, can I afford my son's travel hockey team? What if my daughter doesn't get that soccer scholarship? Will I be able to enjoy golf in retirement? At Empower, we know these questions can be stressful. We're here to help answer your what ifs and empower what's next. Join 18 million Americans and take control of your financial future. Start today at empower.com. Sponsored by Empower Personal Wealth.
If you've tried to buy a Rolex watch lately, you know how difficult it is. New models are in rare supply. Some jewelers put you on wait lists. Others make you buy their other jewelry at inflated prices just to be considered for a Rolex purchase. Well, that's all changed now that Genesis Diamonds has arrived. Genesis Diamonds is the premier dealer of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. People who come in are shocked to see Daytonas, Hulks, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejusts, all the hard-to-find Rolex watches ready to wear today. At Genesis, we've used our worldwide connections to find only the first luxury pre-owned Rolexes, immaculate, pristine watches, fairly priced with no strings attached, and with flexible financing options. So enough with the wait list and the retail jeweler games. Get the Rolex of your dreams today at Genesis Diamonds. And if you already have a Rolex and are interested in trading up, we also have Rolex buyers on site every day. Just another example of how we're forever changing the jewelry landscape here. Genesis Diamonds, official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The Double Steak Grilled Cheese Burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The Double Steak Grilled Cheese Burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, I actually learned it yesterday, but it was going on during our show, and so I didn't bring it up. But Caitlin Clark, the sensation from Iowa, has announced that she is going to declare for the 2024 WNBA draft. And obviously what she has done at Iowa last season, this season, just incredible. And then right after that, the Indiana Fever, who have the #1 pick, literally just seconds after she announced that, tweeted out, hop on board with a link for season tickets, followed by a tweet that says, we're just simply reminding you that we're only 46 days away until the 2024 WNBA draft, and reminding everyone that they, in fact, have the number 1 pick. So it doesn't seem like Indiana is going to be doing any hard research on all the top players in the WNBA draft. Sounds like they have their player, and it's going to be Caitlin Clark.
Yes, they can hand the pick to the commissioner now. That will take all of about a second, and that was a waste of a half a second for them to take her. What I learned from 9 to 7 bids in all these mock brackets for the SEC, and who's really the go to the Final Four team? Historically, it's Kentucky. I don't think that's the case now. And who do we trust to really get to the Final Four? Do we trust Nate Oates? Do we trust Rick Barnes? I trust Bruce Pearl. I think he is the coach. But right now in the standings, his team is 6th in the SEC.
Wow. It's going to be interesting in the SEC to see how everything shakes out in the regular season and then in that conference tournament. What I could have done without today, Fanatic CEO Michael Rubin spoke today on MLB jersey criticism. For those who don't know, the jerseys are Nike, but Nike outsourced it to Fanatics, and they have been the actual ones producing the jerseys. Obviously, nobody's a fan of them, the jerseys or the pants. This was the quote from Fanatics today. Quote, We've purely been doing exactly as we're told. We've been told we're doing everything exactly right, and we're getting the blank kicked out of ourselves every day right now. That's not fun. Normally when I get beat up, it's because I actually did something wrong. So he's shifting the blame. He's saying this is not on us. We were told how to make the jerseys. We made them, and now everyone's pointing at us.
Scrap it and start over.
I say let's just pull the jerseys from last year out, roll with those. Those were great. These are hideous.
I got a theory.
Okay.
I want you to investigate this.
All right.
I'm saying like the LA on the Dodgers hat, the NY on the Yankees hat, the STL on the Cardinals hat. I'm saying they're all bigger and more pronounced than they used to be.
Interesting. Well, that would be interesting because the big problem with the lettering on the backs of the jerseys are they're too small. So that would be very interesting if that is. Except the Royals had some sort of agreement with Nike in the offseason that they would keep their letters big and bold. And I guess no other team did that. It's just the Royals. So if you watch a Royals spring training game, their jerseys look fine. They look the exact same.
The history of baseball, part of the timelessness of it, is you can count on that uniform. You can count on that on that look. You can count on that being there.
Whew, and now it's a mess.
No, you can't. You can't count on it. Could have done without. Of all the bad losses for the Tigers, Rice at home is the one. It's the tragic loss. 222 in the net. Impossible to explain, and could be impossible to overcome.
Yeah, it really could. I mean, we talked about it earlier, about 3 hours ago at this point, of if you could take away one loss, it would have to be
just
against
one.
Rice. I mean,
and got back in the lead in that game.
Sure did. Yeah, late. Thought they came all the way back and were going to win it and just be a scare, and ultimately they were not able to do that. Where are you beaming to?
To Tuscaloosa for the famed first Saturday in March. Coffee table books will be written about it. The subject, Tennessee at Bama at Coleman Coliseum. Game day there. Reese Davis has to start with fame first Saturday in March, doesn't he?
I hope so. That'd be
The
beautiful.
Bama guy he is and the football lover he is.
Oh, I hope so. That would be great. Beam me tomorrow, noon on ABC. 7th-ranked Kansas on the road against 15th-ranked Baylor. Should be an unbelievable Big 12 game. Kansas really struggled in their last game. No Kevin McCullers. Their rotation is extremely thin right now. Baylor's got some young guys they're having to rely on. And also, the bad thing about watching games at Baylor is that camera is just so high. I feel like I'm right above the court. It's not my favorite.
That's kind of the old Oklahoma State camera view. Also this weekend, I mentioned a lot of Blazers this weekend. Portland tonight, tomorrow night, Portland Trail Blazers, and UAB on Sunday afternoon at FedEx Forum. The Tigers, they need Virginia to beat Duke at Cameron. That will help.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be a game to keep an eye on over the weekend. But a really good slate of college basketball games. We're getting closer and closer to these conference tournaments. NBA continues to roll, so it should be a really, really fun weekend of sports. That's all the time we have. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you again Monday afternoon.